Top 100 Underrated PS1 Games of All Time. The PlayStation 1, the console that practically invented the phrase childhood nostalgia. The PS1 was the gateway to gaming greatness. While we all fondly remember the heavy hitters like Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, and Crash Bandicoot, there's a treasure trove of hidden gems that never quite got the spotlight they deserved. These games may not have sold millions of copies or spawned multi-million-dollar franchises, but they packed just as much heart, creativity, and gameplay goodness. So, what makes a game underrated? Maybe it got buried under the hype of bigger releases, or perhaps it was just ahead of its time. Sometimes, a game is so quirky, it takes a while for people to fully appreciate its charm. Whatever the reason, the PS1's library is overflowing with these hidden masterpieces, the unsung heroes of a golden era in gaming. In this video, we're diving into the top 100 underrated PS1 games of all time. From obscure RPGs and wild platformers to experimental puzzle games, this list has something for everyone. So, dust off that memory card, grab a controller, and get ready to revisit the forgotten corners of the PS1 era, where the true magic often lies just off the beaten path. Vagrant Story, 2000. In the twilight years of the PlayStation era, Square dropped this absolute gem that somehow flew under many gamers' radars. Released in May 2000, Vagrant Story throws you into the shoes of Ashley Riot, a medieval fantasy James Bond, who works as an elite agent called a risk-breaker for the Valendia Knights of Peace. The game unfolds in the cursed city of Le Monde, where Ashley pursues Sydney Losterot, a mysterious cult leader with supernatural abilities. What sets Vagrant Story apart is its revolutionary combat system that feels like a medieval version of time bullet mechanics. The game features a unique chain ability system where you can target specific body parts of enemies and string together devastating combo attacks. It's like playing chess while sword fighting. You need to think about weapon types, affinities, and even which limb you're going to smack next. The combat might seem slow at first, but once you get the hang of it, you'll feel like a medieval John Wick. The game also sports some seriously impressive visuals for the PS1, with European medieval-inspired architecture that would make an art history professor weep. The storytelling is deliciously dark and mature, dealing with themes of memory, guilt, and redemption. Despite being a commercial underperformer due to minimal advertising, it achieved legendary status in Japan, becoming one of only 5 games to receive a perfect score from Famitsu magazine. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, 1999, released in August 1, 1999. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver stands as one of the PlayStation's most criminally underappreciated masterpieces. Despite selling an impressive 1.5 million copies worldwide, the game never achieved the mainstream recognition it deserved. The story follows Raziel, a vampire lieutenant executed by his master Kain for the crime of evolving wings before him. Resurrected as a soul-devouring wraith by the mysterious elder god, Raziel embarks on a quest for vengeance across the gothic realm of Nosgoth. The gameplay innovates through its groundbreaking realm-shifting mechanic. Players can switch between the physical and spectral planes at will, with each realm featuring distinct properties and puzzles. While the material realm lets Raziel interact with the physical world, the spectral realm distorts architecture and allows passage through barriers, creating unique environmental puzzles that were years ahead of their time. The combat system requires strategic thinking, as vampires can only be truly destroyed through environmental kills like impalement, sunlight, or water, adding a layer of tactical depth to each encounter. The game features some of the most eloquent dialogue ever written for a video game, performed by a stellar cast, including Tony Jay and Michael Bell. The story tackles complex themes of fate, free will, and corruption, elevating video game storytelling to new heights too. Technically, the game pushed the PlayStation hardware to its limits, featuring seamless transitions between realms with no loading screens, a remarkable achievement for the era. Despite critical acclaim and strong initial sales, Soul Reaver remains underrated in the broader gaming canon, often overshadowed by more commercially successful titles of its time. Its influence can be seen in numerous modern games, from its realm-shifting mechanics to its approach to mature storytelling. Parasite Eve 2, 1999. Square's 1999 survival horror gem. Parasite Eve 2 picks up 3 years after the infamous New York incident, following our mitochondria-powered heroine, Aya Brea, in her new role as an NMC, Neo-Mitochondrian Creature, Hunter, with the FBI's MIST division. Trading her NYPD badge for a federal one, Aya finds herself investigating mysterious creature outbreaks starting in Los Angeles, only to stumble upon a shocking conspiracy that hits closer to home than she could have imagined. The game marks a dramatic departure from its predecessor's unique RPG horror hybrid formula, embracing a more traditional survival horror approach that would make the Resident Evil crew proud. Gone are the random encounters and active time bars. Instead, players navigate through pre-rendered backgrounds with those infamous tank controls while facing enemies in real-time combat. While some fans might have raised eyebrows at this genre shift, the game compensates with a clever targeting system that helps smooth out those clunky controls. Don't think Aya's lost her supernatural edge though. The game introduces a fresh take on character progression, where players can customize her paranormal arsenal using EXP to unlock and enhance various Parasite abilities across 4 elemental categories. The presentation is pure Square excellence, with some of the most impressive CG cutscenes the PlayStation had to offer, though some fans might miss having voice acting to complement the cinematic experience. While the middle section might drag a bit like a zombie with a limp, Parasite Eve 2 successfully mutated the series formula into something fresh. Wild Arms 2, 1999. Wild Arms 2 galloped onto the PlayStation in 1999, taking place in the world of Filgaia, a unique blend of science fiction, steampunk, and traditional fantasy elements where firearms called arms represent the planet's evolving warfare technology. The story follows a group of heroes who join an elite peacekeeping force called ARMS, facing off against a terrorist organization called Odessa that threatens world peace. The game's mature storyline tackles profound themes, questioning the concept of heroism and exploring complex ideas like borders, leading to mutual mistrust between nations. Both protagonists and antagonists are portrayed in morally grey areas, with each character having solid motivations and real emotions driving their actions. The relationship between the main character Ashley and his girlfriend stands out as one of the most authentic romantic portrayals in RPG history. The gameplay combines traditional turn-based combat with a unique force point system, while dungeon exploration features innovative puzzle-solving elements. The combat system operates on a response-based turn order, where characters act according to their RES response statistic. While the main story can be completed in around 30 hours, the game offers numerous side quests and optional content. Despite its visual limitations, as a 32-bit title, Wild Arms 2 compensates with a memorable spaghetti western score and engaging dungeon design. The game features 6 playable characters, though they become available gradually throughout the adventure, with some joining quite late in the story. While the translation occasionally stumbles and the graphics might not have matched contemporary releases, Wild Arms 2 stands as a unique JRPG that successfully blends Western themes with deep storytelling.
Brave Fencer Musashi!
Brave Fencer Musashi, 1998. Square's action RPG. Brave Fencer Musashi tells the tale of a legendary warrior reincarnated as a young, short-tempered boy summoned to save the Alukanite kingdom from the evil Thirst-Quencher Empire. The story follows our diminutive hero after Princess Phillet grants him the powerful fusion sword and tasks him with obtaining another legendary blade called Lumina before the villains can claim it. The gameplay features a unique combat system where Musashi wields 2 distinct weapons, the fusion sword for traditional melee combat and the Lumina blade, which can be enhanced with elemental powers. One of the game's most innovative features is the ability stealing mechanic, where Musashi can assimilate and use enemy techniques, though the process can be somewhat clunky in execution. The game implements an ambitious day-night cycle that affects everything from NPC schedules to monster behavior, while also introducing a fatigue system requiring Musashi to rest periodically. Despite its action-oriented nature, Brave Fencer Musashi maintains strong RPG elements through its progression system. Players can increase Musashi's abilities by collecting Bincho fields and freeing imprisoned citizens, while also mastering various sword techniques and elemental powers. The game's humour, particularly its abundance of puns and the protagonist's childish attitude, adds charm to this distinctive action RPG experience. Bushido Blade, 1997. Bushido Blade is set in modern-day Japan, and the game follows a rogue member who escapes from an ancient dojo with its secrets, leading to a deadly pursuit by other members sworn to stop the defector. The game completely discards health bars and time limits in favour of a revolutionary body damage system. Most hits can result in instant death, while strategic strikes to limbs can cripple opponents. Hitting a leg forces them to crawl, while damaging an arm reduces their fighting capability. The combat system emphasises realism, with slower-paced, tactical battles where a single mistake can be fatal. The game features 6 playable characters, each with strengths and weaknesses, who can wield 8 different weapons ranging from traditional Japanese swords to European blades. What truly sets Bushido Blade apart is its incorporation of the samurai code of honor. Acting dishonorably, such as striking an opponent from behind or attacking during their bow, results in immediate disqualification. Combat takes place in expansive 3D environments where players can freely move around, climb structures, and even cut down environmental objects like bamboo trees. The game offered multiple modes, including a story-driven single-player campaign, a versus mode for local multiplayer, and a challenging slash mode where players face 100 consecutive opponents. Despite these, it still went under the radar. Silent Bomber, 1999. Silent Bomber by CyberConnect revolutionized action gameplay with its unique bomb-based combat system. The game follows Due to Fate, a war criminal drafted into a covert military operation to destroy the massive space dreadnought Dante that threatens Planet Hornet. Silent Bomber's gameplay revolves around a distinctive bombing mechanic where players can either plant bombs directly or launch them using a lock-on reticle. The system allows for strategic stacking of multiple bombs for increased destruction and chaining explosions for higher scores. Players can also utilize 3 types of special material liquids: napalm for sustained fire damage, gravity for creating black holes, and paralysis for disabling electrical devices. The game features 26 diverse missions packed with intense arcade-style action, complemented by an extensive tutorial system that helps new players master the mechanics. The gameplay maintains its breakneck pace thanks to an incredibly smooth 3D engine that never suffers from slowdown, even during the most chaotic moments. The storyline follows Juta's mission alongside a team, including Benoit Mandelbrot, Mitino Tifona, and John Loss, under the command of CO Henri O'Hara. As the story progresses, it explores themes of betrayal and unexpected romance, culminating in a dramatic confrontation with Benoit, who reveals himself as the true antagonist after bonding with the Dante's AI. Despite its limited marketing, Silent Bomber earned global critical acclaim as one of the era's standout action games. Team Buddies, 2000. Developed by Psygnosis Camden. Before their absorption into Sony, the game combines elements of real-time strategy with third-person shooting mechanics. The story takes place in the peaceful Buddy world, where pill-shaped creatures called Buddies lived harmoniously until a mysterious eclipse caused weapon-filled crates to fall from the sky. This event led to the Buddies splitting into color-coded teams and engaging in an all-out war. Later, players discover these crates originated from the Baddie Moon, where cube-shaped creatures were orchestrating the chaos for a twisted television show. The game's most distinctive feature is its innovative box stacking mechanic. Players collect crates scattered across maps and arrange them on stacking pads to create different items. A single crate produces basic weapons like Uzis or pistols, while more complex arrangements can yield grenades, bazookas, or even vehicles like tanks and helicopters. Players can even create additional team members by stacking crates vertically. The European version features unique personality traits for each colored team, complete with distinctive national stereotypes and accents. Though the US version was notably censored for its dialogue, the game offers both a single-player campaign and a robust multiplayer mode supporting up to 4 players in split screen. Hogs of War 2000. Hogs of War came out for PlayStation and Windows during the 2000s and is a turn-based tactics game that combines humour with strategic combat. Developed by Infogrames Sheffield House, the game puts players in control of anthropomorphic pigs engaged in a World War I-inspired conflict. The game's premise revolves around 6 pig nations battling for control of Sostralasia, a pig-shaped collection of islands rich in swill, the lifeblood of pigs. Players command a squad of pigs through various missions across 5 regions, each with ridiculous names like Hogshead and Trottsville. Players take turns controlling individual squad members in a third-person perspective, moving around the map and engaging in combat when stationary. The game features a variety of weapons and class types, including heavy gunners, engineers, espionage agents, and medics. One of the game's standout features is its promotion system. Players can earn medals by completing missions and objectives, which can be used to promote their pigs through various ranks and specializations. This adds a layer of strategy and progression to the game, as players must decide how to develop their squad to tackle increasingly difficult missions. The late British comedian Rick Mayall provided most of the voice work, bringing his signature comedic style to the game's narration and character dialogue. This injection of humour, combined with the game's cartoonish violence and stereotypical portrayals of World War I nations, creates a uniquely British comedic atmosphere. While the game received mixed reviews upon release, with some critics praising its humour and gameplay while others criticised its graphics, Hogs of War has since developed a cult following. Many players fondly remember it as a favourite pastime, particularly for its local multiplayer mode, which allowed up to 4 players to compete on various maps. A remaster, initially titled Hogs of War Reheated, but later renamed Hogs of War Lardcore, is currently in development, aiming to rebuild the game with a modern engine while retaining the original voice acting and audio assets.
Reason to believe in the future.
Colony Wars 1997. Released in 1997 by Psygnosis, Colony Wars stands as one of the most criminally underappreciated space combat simulators of the PlayStation era. Despite receiving critical acclaim and pushing technical boundaries, this groundbreaking title never achieved the mainstream recognition it deserved alongside other space combat games of its time. The game thrust players into an epic interstellar civil war between the Earth Empire and the League of Free Worlds, offering a mature sci-fi narrative that was years ahead of its time. What truly sets Colony Wars apart is its revolutionary mission structure. Instead of traditional game over screens, failures become part of the evolving narrative, creating branching storylines that adapt to your performance. The technical achievements were remarkable for 1997, featuring spectacular special effects and explosion animations that surpassed anything available on any gaming platform at the time. The game masterfully worked around the PlayStation's limitations, using clever design choices like consistent capital ship orientations and strategic particle effects to help players navigate the vastness of space without relying on complex HUD elements. Despite the accolades, the game remained somewhat overshadowed by more mainstream titles, making it one of the PlayStation's hidden gems that deserves more recognition in gaming history. Colony Wars Vengeance 1998. The game takes place in 4671, following the canonical ending where the League of Free Worlds sealed off the Sol System, leading to the Earth Empire's degradation into civil war. Players take control of Mertens, a Navy pilot fighting alongside wingmen Bex and Klein in intense space combat missions. The game features 19 acts, totaling approximately 40 levels, with multiple branching paths leading to 6 different possible endings. Unlike its predecessor, the game introduces atmospheric combat, allowing players to engage in battles within planetary gravity wells that affect ship handling. The gameplay mechanics received significant upgrades, featuring 4 customizable starfighters with varying combinations of shields, weapons, and maneuverability. Players can upgrade their ship's attributes using points earned from missions, and the new heads-up display includes a lead pursuit indicator to assist in targeting. The arsenal expands to 22 different weapons across primary and secondary categories, complemented by special equipment like EMP cannons and grapple guns. Despite several innovations, the game's brutal difficulty spikes and limited save points, occurring only every 3rd mission, likely contributed to its underappreciated status. Yet these same challenging elements make Colony Wars Vengeance a hidden gem for space combat enthusiasts seeking a more demanding experience. Tobal 2, 1997. Tobal 2 was one of the most underappreciated fighting games of the PlayStation era, despite pushing technical boundaries that many contemporary fighters couldn't match. Running at a silky smooth 60 frames per second with high-resolution character models and guroed shading, the game demonstrated visual prowess that was years ahead of its time. The gameplay innovates with a combat system that offers complete 3D movement freedom, letting players navigate arenas while maintaining constant face-to-face engagement with opponents. The fighting mechanics received substantial upgrades from its predecessor, including faster-paced action and expanded movesets. A particularly innovative addition was the unblockable fireball attack system, where using projectiles costs health, creating a fascinating risk-reward dynamic that added strategic depth to matches. While many were novelty characters with limited movesets, they could all be unlocked through the game's expanded quest mode. This mode itself was revolutionary, featuring 6 distinct dungeons and an explorable town where players could eat, sleep, and shop. The RPG elements were surprisingly deep, with characters gaining experience for individual body parts and attack types. Arms, legs, throwing, and guard abilities all leveled up separately through use. Despite achieving considerable success in Japan, the game never saw a Western release. Critics praised its innovations. The game was also historically significant, as one of the first titles to support Sony's dual analog controller in Japan. Bloody Roar, 1997. Originally titled Beasterizer in North American arcades, this game was later ported to PlayStation under the now familiar Bloody Roar name. The game's storyline centers on zoanthropes, humans with the ability to transform into powerful half-animal creatures, and their struggle against the Tylon Corporation, which seeks to weaponize their abilities. While newcomers can execute basic moves and combinations, the game offers sophisticated combat mechanics for dedicated players. The fighting engine emphasizes close-quarter combat with no projectile attacks, creating a more realistic feel despite its fantastical premise. Each character possesses standard moves and command moves, with approximately 40 to 70 combination techniques available. Players can activate their beast form once their transformation meter fills, gaining access to new movesets, increased power, and health regeneration. An additional Rave mode provides even more power for a limited time. The strategic timing of these transformations adds a unique layer of depth to matches. Technically, the game impressed with its silky smooth frame rates and detailed character models. Special effects, including lighting and particle systems, enhanced the visual experience, though some pre-rendered elements like character selection portraits showed their age. G-Police, 1997. G-Police takes players into a cyberpunk dystopia set in 2097 on Jupiter's moon Callisto. Players take the role of Slater, a G-Police pilot investigating his sister's mysterious death while piloting a VTOL Havoc gunship through sprawling dome cities. The gameplay combines elements of action shooter and flight simulation, featuring both dogfighting and bombing runs. Players can choose between first-person or third-person perspectives, with various camera angles including cockpit view and chase cameras. The innovative scanning mechanic requires players to identify hostile targets before engagement. The game's visual presentation pushed PlayStation hardware to its limits, creating a Blade Runner-inspired cityscape teeming with activity. Flying vehicles, air taxis, and vibrant advertising billboards populate the domed colonies, though technical limitations resulted in a notably short draw distance with buildings materializing as wireframes before filling in. The atmosphere is enhanced by impressive explosion effects and a dynamic environment where residential areas and spaceports buzz with civilian traffic. The storyline unfolds through 30-plus missions, revealing a complex conspiracy involving powerful corporations, particularly Nanosoft's scheme to harvest brain-implanted microchips for weapons development. Despite everything, it flew under the radar.
Star Gladiator.
Star Gladiator, 1996. As Capcom's first venture into 3D fighting games, this game boldly departed from their traditional formula by introducing a unique 4-button combat system that would influence future 3D fighters. The game's sci-fi storyline unfolds in a Star Wars-inspired universe, where fighters wielding plasma weapons battle in floating arenas. What truly makes Star Gladiator a hidden gem is its revolutionary Plasma Reverse system, which introduced defensive mechanics like Plasma Reflect to deflect attacks and Plasma Revenge for counter-strikes, features that were ahead of their time. The combat system thrives with its innovative Plasma Combo system, allowing players to chain attacks that break through guards. Landing 5 consecutive hits enables a devastating plasma final attack, creating a strategic layer that rewards skilled play. While this mechanic was unfortunately abandoned in the sequel, it represents one of the earliest examples of a combo-based super system in 3D fighters. Despite running on Sony's ZN1 arcade hardware, which enabled an excellent PlayStation conversion, Star Gladiator never achieved the mainstream success of contemporaries like Tekken. However, the game earned respect from critics, with GamePro praising its visual appeal and outstanding control.
This is the LAPD. Put down your... Thank you for your support.
Future Cop, LAPD, 1998. This game, released in 1998 by Electronic Arts, is set in a dystopian Los Angeles of 2098. Players pilot the X1 Alpha, a transforming police mech designed to combat rampant crime. The game features 2 main modes: Crime War, a story-driven campaign playable solo or cooperatively, and Precinct Assault, a competitive mode that pioneered MOBA-like gameplay. In Crime War, players battle through futuristic versions of iconic LA locations like Griffith Park, Venice Beach, and LAX, facing increasingly challenging enemies and bosses. Future Cop's gameplay shines with its versatile mech that can transform between a hovering pursuit vehicle and a combat walker, allowing players to adapt to various combat situations. The arsenal is diverse, featuring machine guns, missiles, mortars, and flamethrowers, with upgradable weapons adding depth to the combat. Visually, the game pushed the PlayStation's capabilities, creating a claustrophobic, dystopian LA filled with snaking pipes, humming reactors, and omnipresent gun emplacements. The attention to detail extends to the audio, with atmospheric sound effects enhancing the futuristic setting. Despite some criticisms of its difficulty spikes and occasional control issues, Future Cop LAPD received generally favorable reviews. It's particularly praised for its innovative Precinct Assault mode, which predated the MOBA genre and remains relevant to modern gaming. Ghost in the Shell, 1997. PS1's Ghost in the Shell brings Masamune Shirow's iconic manga and anime franchise to life in video game form. Set in a cyberpunk future, players take control of a Fuchikoma, a spider-like tank capable of traversing walls and ceilings, as they assist Public Security Section 9 in combating the terrorist organization known as the Human Liberation Front. The game's plot, written by Shiro himself, follows a nameless rookie working with familiar characters like Major Motoko Kusanagi and Batu. While the story maintains the series' themes, it adopts a slightly more comedic tone compared to the anime adaptations, aligning more closely with the manga's style. The Fujikoma's ability to stick to any surface adds a layer of verticality to combat, allowing players to approach encounters from various angles. Visually, the game impresses with its faithfulness to the manga's aesthetic, featuring beautifully animated cutscenes by Production IG. The soundtrack, composed of 90s techno tracks from artists like Derek May and Hardfloor, complements the futuristic setting and fast-paced gameplay. Despite its short length, typically lasting around 2 to 3 hours, Ghost in the Shell offers replay value through its training mode and challenging boss fights. The game received generally positive reviews, praised for its graphics, sound, and innovative gameplay, though some critics noted its repetitive nature and low difficulty as drawbacks. Dragon Valor, 1999. This next game follows Clovis Barkley, whose quest for vengeance against his sister's killer sets off a legacy spanning multiple generations. The gameplay combines side-scrolling action with basic RPG elements. Players navigate through stages using a combination of sword combat and magic abilities. The combat system features various moves, including aerial attacks, combination strikes, and 8 types of magic spells that can be upgraded to 3 different levels. Unlike traditional RPGs, character progression occurs through collecting power-ups rather than experience points, with stats limited to strength and defense. After completing each chapter, the protagonist marries and has a child who becomes the next playable character. Player choices, particularly in the first 2 chapters, create 3 distinct story paths leading to different endings. Each path corresponds to one of 3 magical swords: Azos, Soul, and Kadum. The game spans 2 CDs and features impressive graphics for its time, though the 3D environments allow limited movement into the background and foreground. While the combat and platforming elements provide entertainment, critics noted the repetitive nature of gameplay and uninspired puzzle design.
The Misadventures of Tron Bon!
The Misadventures of Tron Bon, 1999. The story begins when Tron's brothers, Tysil and Bonboni, are captured by rival air pirate Glide while searching for a valuable artifact called Diana's Tear. Tron must raise 1 million zeni to pay off her brother's debt to the manipulative Mr. Loath. The gameplay brilliantly combines multiple genres into a cohesive experience. Players tackle various mission types, including 3D action stages where Tron and her servbots rob banks and explore ruins, puzzle-focused container-moving missions at harbours, and descent-style first-person dungeon-crawling segments. The game's versatility extends to its mission structure, with each type requiring different strategies and approaches. Players can train these loyal robots, assign them tasks, and develop their abilities, creating a compelling base management metagame. The servbots assist Tron during missions, with different numbers available depending on the mission type, typically led by a sniper servbot. The plot takes interesting turns, as Tron repeatedly confronts Officer Denise Marmalade during bank heists and discovers Mr. Loath's deceptive nature when he continually increases the debt amount. The story culminates in a dramatic rescue mission led by the player's chosen favourite servbot, distinguished by its red head parts, who must save the entire Bon family and ultimately face off against Loath's ultimate weapon, the Colossus. Despite its modest graphics, The Misadventures of Tron Bon compensates with charm, varied gameplay, and a compelling story that serves as a direct prequel to Mega Man Legend. The game successfully balances its multiple gameplay elements while maintaining consistency with the larger Mega Man Legends universe. Galarians, 1999. Set in the 26th century, the story unfolds as Ryan discovers he's humanity's last hope against the Galarians, genetically enhanced humans created by a malevolent supercomputer named Dorothy. Instead of conventional weapons, Ryan uses psychic power enhancement chemicals, PPECs, to unleash telepathic attacks, including force blasts and pyrokinetic abilities. The game features a unique shorting system where Ryan's powers can overload, creating a double-edged sword that can instantly kill enemies but also drain his health. The game creates an unsettling atmosphere through its pre-rendered backgrounds and disturbing story elements, including gruesome discoveries and psychological horror. The narrative unfolds across approximately 10 hours of gameplay, though the pacing is deliberately slow to build tension. The game features impressive CGI cutscenes and a haunting soundtrack that enhances its cyberpunk horror atmosphere. While it may not have achieved the commercial success of its contemporaries, Galarians has maintained a cult following for its distinctive mixture of psychological horror and science fiction elements. Rapid Reload, Gunner's Heaven, 1995. Also known as Gunner's Heaven in Japan, this one is a run-and-gun action game that follows treasure hunters, Axel Sonics, and Ruka Hetfield in their quest to find a legendary stone called the Valkyrie while battling against the terrorist organization Pumpkinheads. The gameplay draws heavy inspiration from Treasure's Gunstar Heroes, featuring fast-paced action and intense boss battles. Players can choose between Axel and Ruka, each equipped with 4 unique weapons, including machine pistols, flamethrowers, homing lasers, and multi-directional cannons. A distinctive grappling hook mechanic allows players to latch onto walls and ceilings, providing temporary invulnerability during use. As players destroy enemies, they drop points that increase weapon power when collected. However, this power constantly drains, creating a risk-reward dynamic that encourages aggressive play. Occasional power boost items temporarily maximize weapon strength, though these enhancements are frustratingly brief. The game spans 6 challenging stages, each featuring multiple sub-bosses and a main boss that requires careful pattern recognition. The visuals push impressive sprite work with detailed character designs, colourful stages, and constant on-screen action without slowdown. While the soundtrack offers 2 different arrangements to choose from, the music remains pleasant, if not particularly memorable. Despite its quality, Rapid Reload never reached North American shores due to Sony Computer Entertainment, America's policy against releasing 2D games for the PlayStation. The game received mixed to positive reviews, with Computer and Video Games awarding it 89%, while praising its lush backgrounds and excellent game design, though noting it didn't quite reach the heights of its inspiration, Gunstar Heroes.
Cyberbot.
Cyberbot's Full Metal Madness, 1995. Cyberbot's Full Metal Madness by Capcom brought mecha combat to the fighting game genre. Set in a dystopian future where corporations rule and conflicts are settled through giant robot battles, the game follows various pilots and their customizable variant armors, VAs, as they uncover a sinister plot. Players can choose from a roster of 12 pilots and 9 different VAs, allowing for a wide variety of combat styles and strategies. The game's innovative multi-form system lets players transform their mechs mid-battle, switching between ground and aerial combat modes to adapt to different situations. Cyberbot stands out with its deep customization options. Before each match, players can outfit their VA with different arms, legs, and weapons, tailoring their mech to their preferred fighting style. This system adds a layer of strategy rarely seen in fighting games of its era, as players must consider not only their own loadout, but also how to counter their opponents. The game saw a limited release in arcades and was later ported to the Sega Saturn and PlayStation, though these versions were only released in Japan. Despite its limited reach, Cyberbots has maintained a cult following among fighting game enthusiasts and mecha fans alike, appreciated for its unique take on the genre and its influence on later mecha-themed fighters. Raiden DX 2000. Raiden DX represents the definitive version of the classic vertical scrolling shooter, expanding upon the arcade original with new modes and features. The game includes 3 distinct gameplay modes: Novice Mission for beginners, Expert Mission for seasoned players, and Training Mode for practicing specific stages. The gameplay maintains the series' signature dual weapon system, allowing players to switch between spread shots and concentrated laser beams, The scoring system rewards skilled play through medals and multipliers, with chain bonuses for consecutive medal collections. Players can also collect bombs for screen-clearing attacks and defensive options. The game features adjustable difficulty settings and various ship speeds, making it accessible while maintaining challenge for veteran players. The practice mode allows players to hone their skills on individual stages with infinite lives. The PlayStation port maintains the arcade version's smooth performance and adds CD-quality audio, though some sprite flickering occurs during particularly intense moments. Despite arriving late in the PlayStation's life cycle, Raiden DX earned praise for its tight controls, varied mission structure, and excellent presentation. The game stands as one of the most comprehensive shooting packages available on the system, offering both accessibility for newcomers and depth for genre enthusiasts. Evil Zone, 1999. Evil Zone, aka Eretz Faju in Japan, is another underappreciated fighting games of the PlayStation 1 era. The game's storyline follows a diverse cast of characters summoned to defeat Ihadurka, a powerful being threatening multiple dimensions. What makes Evil Zone truly special is its presentation. Each character's story unfolds through distinct anime-style episodes, complete with fully voiced cutscenes in both Japanese and English, creating an experience that feels like playing through different anime series. Coming to the gameplay, rather than overwhelming players with complex button combinations, Evil Zone streamlines combat through contextual inputs combined with a single attack button. This innovative approach maintains tactical depth while making the genre more approachable, a design philosophy that was years ahead of its time. The game includes multiple modes, that is story, versus, and training, distinctive visual presentation, and circular force field arenas that add strategic depth through ring-outs. The unique episode structure and ending provide remarkable replay value, but it still didn't manage to hit the mark. Policenauts, 1994. This game's story follows Jonathan Ingram, a former police astronaut who returns to Earth after being lost in space for 25 years, only to be drawn into investigating his ex-wife's murder and her new husband's disappearance. The gameplay combines point-and-click adventure elements with light gun shooting sequences. During investigative segments, players interact with environments and characters to uncover clues, while action sequences feature intense firefights against agile enemies who use cover tactically. The game's presentation shines through high-quality anime-style animation by Anime International Company, complete with voice acting and detailed character expressions. The game explores complex themes like space colonization, organ transplantation, and how living in space affects human society both physiologically and socially. The storyline unfolds through the relationship between Jonathan and his former partner, Ed Brown, creating a compelling buddy cop dynamic that tackles serious themes while maintaining moments of levity. The game received significant acclaim in Japan, with both Famitsu and Sega Saturn magazine praising its high-quality presentation and engrossing setting. While an English localization was planned for the Saturn version, it was ultimately cancelled due to technical issues with translation and the growing market preference for 3D action games. Despite this, Policenauts has maintained a dedicated following, particularly among fans of interactive storytelling and science fiction. Croc, Legend of the Gobos, 1997. This game introduced players to a lovable crocodile hero raised by furry creatures called Gobos. After the evil Baron Dante imprisons his adoptive Gobo family, Croc embarks on a quest across magical islands to rescue them. The gameplay innovated several platforming mechanics that would influence future 3D games. Players navigate through 41 levels across 4 islands, using Croc's signature tail whip attack and stomp moves to defeat enemies while collecting crystals and freeing imprisoned Gobos. The game pioneered the now standard edge grab feature, allowing Croc to hang from ledges, a mechanic that would become a staple of 3D platformers. What's amazing is that it was the game's revolutionary control scheme that introduced the combination of analog stick movement with camera control via shoulder buttons. This control innovation helped establish a template that many 3D platformers would later adopt. The presentation features vibrant visuals and distinct themed environments, from lush jungles to icy mountains, complemented by a cheerful soundtrack that enhances the whimsical atmosphere. Despite some camera issues common to early 3D games and occasional difficulty spikes, the game earned particular praise for its charming character design and accessible gameplay that appealed to players of all ages. Die Hard Trilogy, 1996. Die Hard Trilogy stands as one of the most ambitious PlayStation titles of its era, combining 3 distinct gameplay styles based on the first 3 Die Hard films. The game features separate adventures that each utilize different genres to capture the essence of their respective movies. It adapts the first film into a third-person shooter where players navigate through Nakatomi Plaza, rescuing hostages and battling terrorists. The game pioneered the use of environmental destruction, allowing players to shoot out windows and destroy furniture while searching for enemies. Die Harder transforms the second film's airport setting into a light gun shooter, where players use either the PlayStation mouse or controller to gun down terrorists through 13 stages. The game features impressive damage modeling for its time, with enemies reacting differently based on where they're shot. Die Hard with a Vengeance takes perhaps the most creative approach, turning the third film into a driving game where players race against bomb timers through New York City. Players must navigate through traffic while following Simon's twisted game of Simon Says, defusing bombs before they can detonate. Despite some control issues and occasional difficulty spikes, the game received critical acclaim for its ambition and variety, becoming one of the best-selling PlayStation titles of 1996. Rival Schools, 1998. The story here follows students from various schools investigating mysterious kidnappings and attacks on their classmates, uncovering a sinister plot orchestrated by Justice High School. The gameplay innovates with its team-up system, where players select 2 characters and can call on their partner for devastating team attacks. The fighting mechanics featured a 4-button control scheme and simplified special move inputs that make the game welcoming to newcomers while maintaining competitive depth. What sets Rival Schools apart is its unique school life mode, where players can create their own character and guide them through various academic activities and special training sessions. This mode adds RPG elements to the traditional fighting game formula, allowing players to develop their characters' abilities while experiencing a slice-of-life story in a Japanese high school setting. The game features 20 playable characters across different schools, each with distinct fighting styles reflecting their personalities and school backgrounds. The roster includes characters like hot-blooded Batsu, honor student Kyosuke, and the mysterious Akira, who fights while disguised as a male student. Technically impressive for its time, Rival Schools utilizes the same graphics engine as Street Fighter EX, delivering fluid animations and dynamic camera movements during special attacks. The game received praise for its innovative features and polished presentation, though its relatively limited release in the West prevented it from achieving the same success as other Capcom fighters. Blaster Master, Blasting Again, 2000. Set years after the original game, you play as Roddy, the teenage son of Jason, the first game's hero. The Earth is facing new threats from the lightning beings, and it's up to Roddy, with his sister Elfie supporting him, to pilot the advanced Sophia J7 tank and tackle these challenges head-on. The game combines tank-based exploration with on-foot action. You'll navigate through various 3D environments, switching between controlling the Sophia tank and Roddy himself. As you progress, you can upgrade your tank with new abilities, allowing access to previously unreachable areas. Despite its solid gameplay and faithful continuation of the Blaster Master storyline, Blasting Again didn't receive widespread attention upon release. Some critics noted issues with camera angles and graphics, but many players appreciated its challenging levels and nostalgic value. Over time, it has gained a cult following among fans of the series and retro gaming enthusiasts, who value its unique blend of action and exploration. Pepsi Man, 1999. This one was released exclusively in Japan for the PlayStation in 1999. The game stars Pepsi's Japanese superhero mascot, Pepsi Man, on a mission to deliver Pepsi to thirsty individuals in various scenarios. In Pepsi Man, players guide the character through 4 stages, each set in different locations like San Francisco, New York City, Texas, and the fictional Pepsi City. In each stage, Pepsi Man rushes to deliver Pepsi to dehydrated people, such as a military man stranded in a desert. The narrative is straightforward, focusing on Pepsi Man's heroic efforts to quench thirsts with Pepsi. The gameplay is reminiscent of modern endless runners. Pepsi Man automatically sprints forward, and players must navigate obstacles by moving left or right, jumping and sliding. Challenges include dodging cars, construction equipment, and pedestrians. Collecting Pepsi cans scattered throughout levels boosts the player's score. Some segments introduce variations, like Pepsi Man's head getting stuck in a steel drum, which inverts controls, or riding a skateboard. Despite its promotional nature and initial low sales, Pepsi Man has garnered a cult following over time. Its quirky premise and engaging, albeit simple gameplay, have been appreciated by retro gaming enthusiasts. The game's humor, particularly the interstitial videos of an American man enthusiastically consuming Pepsi, adds to its charm. While it may not have achieved mainstream success, Pepsi Man holds a special place among fans of unique and unconventional video games. Intelligent Qube, 1997. Now we're about to talk about a puzzle game that was released for the PlayStation in 1997 and was designed by Tokyo University professor Masahiko Sato. It stands out as one of the most unique and challenging puzzle games of its time. The gameplay centers around controlling a character on a platform made up of cubes, with rows of these cubes rolling toward the player. The objective is to clear specific cubes before they push the player off the edge of the platform. Players mark spots on the platform to capture cubes as they roll over, creating a strategic and fast-paced puzzle-solving experience. The game introduces various cube types that add layers of complexity. Normal cubes must be cleared to progress, while green advantage cubes offer a helpful tool by leaving a marker that clears a 3x3 area when activated. Black forbidden cubes, on the other hand, must be avoided at all costs, as capturing them results in penalties such as losing parts of the platform. As the game advances, the puzzles become increasingly difficult, requiring careful planning, reflexes, and adaptability to manage the cascading rows of cubes. Upon its release, Intelligent Qube received widespread praise for its innovative concept and engaging mechanics. Critics admired the game's originality, with its balance of strategy and action being a standout feature. However, some reviewers noted minor graphical glitches and the absence of a multiplayer mode as slight drawbacks. Despite being over 2 decades old, Intelligent Qube remains a cult classic among puzzle game enthusiasts. For those who appreciate creative and thought-provoking gameplay, Intelligent Qube continues to be a standout title worth revisiting. No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, 1998. This next game is another super cool, underrated gem, and it lets you step into the shoes of one of 5 anthropomorphic dominoes, navigating through 6 stages that include settings like a casino, grocery store, family home, local park, amusement park, and city. The primary objective is to strategically place dominoes on the course, triggering trick tiles that activate various in-game events when toppled. The character moves continuously, requiring players to adeptly manage speed and direction using the D-pad while avoiding obstacles such as dice, electrical wires, and randomly appearing fruit. Completing laps and activating all trick tiles within a stage allows progression to the next level. Stamina management is crucial. As the character's stamina depletes, indicated by a gradual darkening. Players must utilize recovery tiles to replenish energy and prevent the game from ending. High scores and efficient completion unlock additional characters, each offering a unique gameplay experience. Next Generation highlighted its appeal to puzzle enthusiasts, noting that the combination of technique, luck, quirky surrealism, and clever designs in Mr. Domino gives the game just enough of a hook to incite addiction. In the Hunt, 1995. In this side-scrolling shooter game, players control the submarine Granvia, navigating underwater environments to thwart the nefarious Dark Anarchy Society (DAS), which has flooded the Earth by melting the polar ice caps. The gameplay involves firing torpedoes forward, launching missiles upward, and deploying depth charges downward to combat a variety of enemies, including submarines, aircraft, and massive bosses. The game is renowned for its detailed sprite-based graphics, reminiscent of Metal Slug, and its challenging difficulty, with 6 stages filled with relentless enemy attacks and environmental hazards. During the release days, it received mixed to positive reviews. Electronic Gaming Monthly praised the PlayStation version for its impressive number of on-screen enemies and minimal slowdown. GamePro highlighted the detailed graphics and explosive audio, but noted the sluggish controls. Next Generation criticized the game's slow pace and lack of originality, suggesting it might not appeal to older players. Despite its initial reception, In the Hunt has garnered a cult following over the years, particularly among fans of 2D shooters and those who appreciate its intricate artwork and challenging gameplay. The game's legacy is often associated with its connection to the Metal Slug series, sharing a similar art style and design philosophy.
Caution.
Omega Boost, 1999. This title stands out as a sole venture outside racing games, offering a high-octane mecha-based shooting experience. Set in a future where humanity faces annihilation by a rogue artificial intelligence known as Alpha Core, players assume the role of Lester J. Hemming, the pilot of the advanced mecha Omega Boost. Alpha Core's plan involves traveling back in time to sabotage ENIAC, the first general-purpose computer, ensuring its own creation and dominance. To counter this, Hemming must pursue Alpha Core through time, prevent the corruption of ENIAC, and secure humanity's survival. Omega Boost delivers fast-paced, 3D rail shooting action, reminiscent of titles like Panzer Dragoon. Players navigate through various stages, engaging waves of enemies using a combination of a Vulcan rifle for direct attacks and homing lasers capable of locking onto multiple targets simultaneously. As players progress and achieve high scores, Omega Boost gains enhanced targeting capabilities and unlocks the powerful Viper Boost maneuver, an area-clearing attack that requires a cooldown period after use. People loved this game's impressive graphics and smooth gameplay, showcasing the technical prowess of the PlayStation hardware. However, some critics noted its short length and lack of variety, with many describing it as competent but totally uninspired. Despite these critiques, the game has maintained a cult following, particularly among fans of mecha and rail shooters. Battle Hunter, 2001. Does a tactical role-playing game set in a post-apocalyptic world make you excited? If your answer is yes, then you're in for a treat. In this game, players assume the role of hunters, elite mercenaries tasked with retrieving vital relics from dangerous dungeons to aid humanity's recovery. The gameplay gives us board game mechanics with RPG elements. Players navigate grid-based, randomly generated dungeons, rolling dice to determine movement. Each mission involves competing against 3 other hunters, controlled by either AI or other players, to locate and secure a specific relic. Along the way, players encounter monsters and can engage in combat with rival hunters to steal their items. Success depends on strategic movement, effective use of action cards that influence various aspects of gameplay, and timely retreats to the exit after securing the target relic. Despite its unique implementation of strategy and RPG elements, Battle Hunter flew under the radar for many gamers. Its release as a budget title late in the PlayStation's life cycle, coupled with modest marketing efforts, contributed to its obscurity. Additionally, the game's simplistic graphics and presentation may have led some to overlook its deep and engaging gameplay mechanics. However, those who delved into Battle Hunter found a surprisingly addictive experience, especially in multiplayer mode, where the blend of cooperation and competition shines. Aquanuts Holiday 1995. Developed by ArtDink and released for the PlayStation in 1995, this game offers a tranquil underwater exploration experience. Players, assuming the role of an overworked marine explorer seeking relaxation, navigate vast oceanic expanses from a first-person perspective. The game emphasizes serene exploration without time constraints or adversaries, allowing players to discover underwater ruins, treasures, and communicate with marine life. A key objective is to construct a coral reef to attract diverse marine wildlife, enhancing the underwater ecosystem. Aquanuts Holiday received mixed reviews. Next Generation initially praised its immersive underwater landscapes and exotic sea life, scoring it 4 out of 5 stars. But later, reviews noted that the subtle gameplay might not appeal to all, reducing the score to 2 stars. IGN described it as a fun and immersive 3D underwater sim of the most relaxing kind, while The Electric Playground appreciated the impressive graphics, but found the combination of exploration and atmospheric music lacking in engagement. Despite the mixed critical reception, the game sold over 200,000 units in Japan and won a Japan Software Award in 1996. Its unique, stress-free gameplay and focus on peaceful exploration have earned it a place among the most underrated PS1 games, appealing to players seeking a meditative gaming experience. LSD Dream Emulator 1998. LSD Dream Emulator, a 1998 PlayStation game developed by Asmic Ace Entertainment, immerses players in a surreal, dreamlike exploration experience. Inspired by a decade-long dream journal kept by Hiroko Nishikawa, an employee at Asmic Ace, the game allows players to wander through bizarre and unpredictable environments without specific objectives. Interaction with various elements in these landscapes transports players to new, often more abstract settings, effectively emulating the fluid and unpredictable nature of dreams. It received limited attention, partly due to its exclusive availability in Japan and unconventional content. However, over time, it has garnered a following, especially among Western audiences. This resurgence in popularity is largely attributed to the internet, where the game's eccentricity has been highlighted on humor blogs and through YouTube Let's Play videos. Critics have praised its psychedelic and whimsical qualities, with some calling it one of the most unnerving and unpredictable weird video games ever made. In 2010, due to growing interest, Sony re-released the game on the Japanese PlayStation Network, making it accessible to a new generation of players. Its influence has extended beyond gaming. For instance, the English indie rock band Alt J used a screenshot from the game for the cover art of their 2017 album, Relaxer. Additionally, fan efforts have led to unofficial remakes and an English fan translation released in 2020, further cementing its status as a unique piece of interactive art. Jade Cocoon, Story of the Tamamayu, 1998. Jade Cocoon, Story of the Tamamayu, released for the PlayStation in 1998, is a role-playing game developed by Genki. The game combines traditional RPG elements with virtual pet management, offering a unique gameplay experience. The character design was crafted by Katsuya Kondo, known for his work on Studio Ghibli films such as Kiki's Delivery Service and Ocean Waves. In the game, players assume the role of Levant, a young cocoon master from the village of Cyrus. Tasked with capturing and purifying creatures known as minions, Levant can use these creatures in battles, spin them into silk for trade, or fuse them to create more powerful hybrids. The fusion system allows for extensive customization, as combined minions inherit physical traits and abilities from their predecessors. The game's world is predominantly covered in dense forests teeming with these bizarre, often insect-like creatures, with villages serving as the primary safe havens. This underrated gem was appreciated for its detailed graphics, including over 600 pre-rendered backgrounds and anime-style cutscenes. The orchestral soundtrack by Kimitaka Matsumai further enhanced the immersive experience. However, some critics noted the game's relatively short length, with the main story spanning approximately 15 to 20 hours. Despite this, the game's deep monster breeding system and engaging storyline have earned it a dedicated fanbase over the years. Looney Tunes Sheep Raider 2001, also known as Sheep, Dog and Wolf in Europe. This next game is a puzzle platformer stealth game released in 2001 for the PlayStation and Microsoft Windows. Developed by Infogrames, the game draws inspiration from the classic Warner Brothers cartoons, featuring Ralph Wolf and Sam Sheepdog. Players control Ralph Wolf, whose objective is to stealthily steal sheep from Sam's flock across various levels, each presenting unique challenges and environments. The gameplay emphasizes strategic planning and stealth. Ralph can utilize various gadgets ordered from Acme, such as rocket packs and dynamite, to aid in his sheep-stealing endeavors. Combining certain items can create new tools. For example, using a fan with a bottle of perfume can attract sheep from a distance. Players must carefully navigate each level, avoiding Sam's detection by staying out of his line of sight and minimizing noise. The game incorporates elements of platforming, puzzle solving, and stealth, requiring players to think creatively to succeed. The game got generally positive reviews for its faithful adaptation of the Looney Tunes aesthetic and engaging gameplay mechanics. Critics praised the game's challenging puzzles and humorous presentation, though some noted issues with camera controls and occasional difficulty spikes. The game holds a score of 72 out of 100 on Metacritic, indicating generally favorable reviews. Despite its positive reception, Sheep Raider is often considered underrated, possibly due to limited marketing and its release late in the PlayStation's life cycle. However, it has since developed a following among fans of the genre and Looney Tunes enthusiasts, appreciated for its unique blend of stealth and puzzle gameplay, as well as its faithful representation of the classic cartoon characters. Tail Concerto 1998. Tail Concerto is an action-adventure platformer developed by CyberConnect and published by Bandai. Set in the whimsical, steampunk-inspired world of the Kingdom of Prairie, the game features floating islands inhabited by anthropomorphic dogs and cats. Players take on the role of Waffle Ryebread, a canine police officer tasked with thwarting the mischievous Black Cats gang, led by the enigmatic Alicia Priss. The gang's objective is to steal magical crystals, and it's up to Waffle to maintain peace in the kingdom. Gameplay involves piloting Waffle's semi-humanoid mecha, the police robo, equipped with mechanized arms capable of grabbing and throwing objects, as well as a bubble blaster for immobilizing enemies. Players navigate through various 3D environments, capturing rogue kittens, solving puzzles, and engaging in boss battles. The game supports the PlayStation's DualShock controller, utilizing both analog sticks for movement and vibration feedback for an immersive experience. It received generally positive reviews for its charming art style, engaging gameplay, and unique setting. However, it suffered from low sales in Japan, falling short of the publisher's expectations. Despite this, the game has since developed a cult following, appreciated for its endearing characters and distinctive world building. The character designs by manga artist Nobuteru Yuki and the inclusion of the theme song for Little Tail, performed by Kokia in the Japanese version, added to its unique appeal. Carnage Heart 1997. Developed by ArtDink, this one is a turn-based tactics game set in a futuristic conflict over Jupiter's moons. Players assume the role of a commander deploying mechanized units known as Overkill Engines, OKEs. Unlike traditional mecha games, players don't control these units directly during battles. Instead, they design, assemble, and program the OKE's behaviors using a flowchart-based system, creating a unique blend of strategy and programming. The gameplay involves selecting body types, weapons, engines, and other components to build OKEs, followed by programming their actions through a series of conditional commands. This requires players to think critically about tactics and anticipate enemy movements. The game also includes resource management, as players must negotiate with various companies to purchase, research, or upgrade equipment and parts. Upon its release, Carnage Heart was praised for its depth and innovation. IGN described it as one of the most ambitious console releases of all time, highlighting its complex gameplay and strategic depth. However, its steep learning curve and the necessity for players to grasp programming logic made it less accessible to a broader audience. Pink Panther Pinkadelic Pursuit 2002. Pink Panther Pinkadelic Pursuit, released in 2002, is a platformer game which came out for the PlayStation, Microsoft Windows, and Game Boy Advance. The game draws inspiration from the classic Pink Panther cartoons, incorporating their humor and style into its design. In the game, players control the Pink Panther, who embarks on a quest to find a hidden treasure within his uncle's mansion. The mansion comprises various levels, each themed after different adventures, such as construction sites, ancient Egypt, and Dracula's castle. The primary objective in each level is to locate a key that unlocks the exit, allowing progression to the next area. To achieve this, players must solve puzzles, avoid obstacles, and interact with various characters, often requiring the Pink Panther to stealthily acquire items and use them to advance. The game also features special levels where the Pink Panther dons roller skates, adding variety to the gameplay. Upon release, Pinkadelic Pursuit received mixed reviews. Some players appreciated its faithful representation of the Pink Panther's charm and the nostalgic value it offered, while others critiqued its simplistic gameplay and lack of depth. Despite this, the game has garnered a niche following among fans of the franchise and collectors of early 2000s platformers. R-Type Delta 1999. Launched in 1999 for the PlayStation, this next one is a shoot-'em-up game developed by Irem. As the fourth installment in the R-Type series, it was the first to feature 3D graphics, adding depth to its side-scrolling action. Set in the year 2164, players pilot one of 3 distinct spacecraft, each equipped with unique weapons and force units, to combat the revived Bido Empire threatening Earth. The game introduces the dose system, allowing force units to absorb enemy energy, which, when fully charged, unleashes a powerful Delta attack. Critics praised R-Type Delta for its challenging gameplay and impressive visuals. IGN highlighted its engaging mechanics, noting that R-Type Delta is this year's best shooter. However, the game's high difficulty level was noted, with IGN stating, "R-Type Delta is hard. Even on easy, the game is super difficult, but fun as hell." Despite its difficulty, R-Type Delta has maintained a strong following among shoot-'em-up enthusiasts, often cited as one of the standout titles in the genre for its strategic depth and polished presentation. Shaolin 2000. Also known as Shaolin or Lord of Fist in Japan, Shaolin is a 3D fighting game developed by Polygon Magic and published by THQ for the PlayStation in 2000. The game offers traditional fighting mechanics and role-playing elements. Players begin by selecting a character who starts as a young child and, through progression, grows into adulthood, mastering one of several authentic kung fu disciplines, including Shaolin, Jeet Kune Do, Tai Chi Chuan, 8 Extremities Fist, Hung Gar, and Drunken Boxing. In the game's quest mode, players embark on an adventure where they travel to various towns, solve problems for citizens, and challenge local kung fu schools. Victories against pupils and masters earn experience points and money, allowing for character growth and the acquisition of new moves. The game also featured a multiplayer mode, supporting up to 4 players in combat. It was noted for its authentic representation of kung fu styles and the depth provided by its RPG elements. However, some critics felt that each character's journey was relatively short. Despite this, the game has been appreciated for its unique approach to the fighting genre, combining traditional martial arts with character development. Strider 2 2000. Released by Capcom in 2000 for the PlayStation, it is a direct sequel to the original Strider arcade game. This side-scrolling action platformer retains the fast-paced gameplay of its predecessor while introducing enhanced graphics and new mechanics. Players once again control Hiryu, the elite Strider assassin, as he battles the resurrected Grandmaster, a dictator threatening global domination. The game features 5 expansive stages set in diverse locations, including Hong Kong, Germany, and Antarctica, each filled with enemies and challenging bosses. A notable feature of Strider 2 is its inclusion of the original Strider game on a separate disc, allowing players to experience both titles. However, due to a manufacturing error, the discs were mislabeled in some releases, with the Strider 2 disc labeled as Strider and vice versa. It received generally positive reviews for its engaging gameplay and faithful continuation of the series. IGN described it as a must-have package for fans of arcade-style action games, though they noted the game's short length, with most players able to complete it in under an hour. Despite its brevity, Strider 2 has maintained a following among fans of the action platformer genre, appreciated for its fluid controls, dynamic level design, and nostalgic value. Tilt 1999. Tilt. The game features 6 original tables, each meticulously rendered using silicon graphics technology to provide a true player's eye 3D perspective. The ball physics are mathematically accurate, enhancing the authenticity of the gameplay. Additionally, the game includes special bonus side games and animated lock sequences, adding variety and excitement to the pinball action. Each table in Tilt is designed with a unique theme, including gangsters, funfairs, and science fiction, among others. Players can choose from multiple viewing angles to suit their preferences, allowing for maximum flipper control and strategic play. The game incorporates features such as dot matrix displays, playfield multipliers, skill shots, jet bumpers, loops, kickbacks, multiple ramps, rollovers, jackpots, ramp targets, super spinners, combination bonuses, double Saturn lanes, multiple multi-ball features, and video modes, providing a comprehensive pinball experience. Tilt was praised for its superb sampled sound effects and atmospheric soundtracks, which complemented the high-quality visuals and engaging gameplay. The game's attention to detail and realistic simulation of pinball mechanics made it a standout title for pinball enthusiasts and casual gamers alike. One Piece Mansion 2001. This next one is a strategy puzzle game where players manage an apartment complex, balancing tenant satisfaction and building expansion. Players assume the role of Polpo, a landlord whose sister, Patika, has been kidnapped by a jealous rival named Chocopape. To rescue her, Polpo must meet various objectives set by Chocopape, such as earning a specific amount of income or constructing a certain number of rooms. Each tenant in the mansion has unique stress levels and influences on neighbouring residents, either positively or negatively. The challenge lies in strategically arranging tenants to maintain overall harmony. High stress levels can lead to tenants moving out, causing rooms to explode and financial loss. Additionally, players must contend with members of the Syndicate 5, a group of criminals who disrupt the peace and must be managed to prevent further chaos. The game offers 2 modes. Story mode, where players follow the narrative to rescue Patika by completing 7 stages with specific goals, and endless mode, which allows for continuous play without a storyline, enabling experimentation with different tenant combinations and mansion expansions. Upon release, One Piece Mansion received mixed reviews with a Metacritic score of 62 out of 100. Critics appreciated its unique gameplay mechanics, but noted its short story mode and lack of multiplayer options. Despite these critiques, it has gained a niche following for its distinctive approach to the strategy puzzle genre. Yo-Yo's Puzzle Park 1999, known as Gussen Paradise in Japan. This one is a 2D action platformer developed by Irem and released for the PlayStation in 1996 in Japan and 1999 in Europe. The game is a spin-off of the Gussen Oyoyo series, transitioning from its puzzle-centric roots to a more action-oriented platforming experience. Set in the whimsical Nanoda Paradise amusement park, players control either Gussen or Oyoyo as they navigate navigate through over 130 levels filled with enemies and obstacles. The primary objective is to eliminate all adversaries on a single screen stage by stunning them with party poppers and then tossing them into strategically placed bombs. This mechanic encourages players to herd enemies together for massive chain reactions, resulting in higher scores. Each area of the amusement park presents unique themes and challenges, such as tilting platforms, shifting stages, and various environmental hazards that keep the gameplay fresh and engaging. Power-ups like duck-faced inner tubes for floating, robotic firearms for shooting lasers, and flying saucers for mid-air thrusts add variety and strategic depth to the gameplay. Yo-Yo's Puzzle Park was praised for its charming presentation, inventive level design, and addictive gameplay loop. The game's vibrant graphics, coupled with its humorous character animations and lively soundtrack, contribute to an engaging and enjoyable experience for players of all ages. Extreme Ghostbusters: The Ultimate Invasion 2004. Extreme Ghostbusters: The Ultimate Invasion is a light gun shooter game released in 2004 for the PlayStation. Developed by Similis and published by LSP, the game is based on the animated series Extreme Ghostbusters, a spin-off of the original Ghostbusters franchise. Notably, the game was exclusively released in Europe. In the game, players can choose from one of the 4 Extreme Ghostbusters: Eduardo, Kylie, Roland, or Garrett, as they navigate through various missions set in New York City. The gameplay is reminiscent of titles like Time Crisis, where players use a light gun peripheral to aim and shoot at on-screen enemies. The game supports the GunCon accessory, enhancing the arcade-like experience. Players have access to 2 types of proton-based attacks: a standard mini proton shot, which consumes a fraction of the proton cartridge, and a more powerful proton beam that uses a larger portion of the cartridge. Strategic use of these attacks is essential to manage resources and effectively combat the various ghosts encountered throughout the game. This game is definitely one of the underrated PlayStation gems that you must try. Cleopatra's Fortune 1997. This one is a charming puzzle game that combines classic falling block mechanics with an engaging Egyptian theme. Players arrange various blocks, stones, treasures, mummies, and coffins as they descend into a well, aiming to clear them by creating complete lines or enclosing treasures and mummies within stone blocks. This unique gameplay encourages players to think beyond simple line clears. The game offers multiple modes to keep players entertained. In arcade mode, the objective is to achieve high scores by efficiently clearing blocks, with the challenge intensifying as the game progresses. For those seeking a narrative experience, the puzzle mode presents set scenarios where players must rescue Cleopatra's friends trapped by the evil Sphinx, adding a delightful storyline to the mix. Additionally, a versus mode allows 2 players to compete head-to-head, testing their puzzle-solving skills against each other. The PlayStation version eventually made its way to North America in 2003, broadening its audience. In 2022, a port based on the Saturn version, titled Cleopatra Fortune S Tribute, was released for modern platforms, including PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Windows, allowing a new generation of players to enjoy this classic. The game's presentation is notable for its vibrant, anime-inspired graphics and catchy soundtrack, which contribute to its enduring appeal. The character Patarako, an anime representation of Cleopatra, adds charm by cheering players on during gameplay. While it may not have achieved the same level of fame as some other puzzle games of its era, it remains a beloved title among enthusiasts and continues to be enjoyed through its various re-releases. Bishi Bashi Special 1998. This game is a compilation of quirky and fast-paced mini-games that originated from popular Japanese arcade titles. This collection combines content from Bishi Bashi Champ, Super Bishi Bashi Champ, and Handle Champ, offering players a diverse challenge that tests reflexes, timing, and button-mashing skills. The game features a simple 3-button control scheme, faithfully replicating the arcade experience. Players engage in a variety of mini-games, ranging from making hamburgers and throwing pies down a church aisle to balancing a car on a narrow gravel road. Each minigame is designed to be quick and entertaining, making Bishi Bashi Special an ideal party game. Supporting up to 8 players via a multi-tap, the game emphasizes multiplayer fun, allowing friends to compete compete against each other in a series of wacky challenges. Its vibrant graphics, energetic music, and humorous scenarios contribute to a light-hearted gaming experience that has garnered a cult following over the years. While Bishi Bashi Special was initially released in Japan, it later made its way to Europe in 2000, introducing Western audiences to its unique brand of Japanese arcade madness. The game's charm lies in its simplicity and the sheer variety of minigames, ensuring that players remain engaged and entertained. Fluid, 1998. Also known as Depth in Japan, this one is a unique music video game developed by Opus and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation. The game offers an interactive sound lab experience, allowing players to create dance and electronic music. In the game, players control a dolphin navigating through various underwater stages to unlock a diverse range of sound samples. Each level presents a distinct theme, such as Abyss Lair or Jungle Reef, and contains its own set of sounds that can be imported into other levels upon completion. These collected samples are then utilized in the game's Groove Editor, a feature that enables in-depth manipulation of the sounds. Players can mix several tracks simultaneously, adjusting parameters like speed, pitch, frequency, and modulation using a series of colored crystals. The compositions can be saved to a memory card and played during levels, where controlling the dolphin allows for real-time improvisations, with frequency mapped to the up-down controls and modulation to the left-right. This game was appreciated for its surreal nature and innovative approach to music creation. Ollie Yarwood of Eurogamer compared it positively to Harmonix's frequency and amplitude. While Fluid may not have achieved mainstream popularity, it holds a special place among enthusiasts of experimental music games, offering a distinctive and immersive experience that blends creative expression with interactive gameplay. N2O, Nitrous Oxide, 1998. Now we're talking about a tube shooter developed by Gremlin Interactive and published by Fox Interactive. The game draws inspiration from the arcade classic Tempest, featuring fast-paced action set within neon-lit tunnels. In the game, players pilot a tunnel runner ship through a series of tubular environments, combating waves of insect-like enemies such as beetles, scorpions, spiders, and ants. The objective is to navigate these tunnels, eliminate adversaries, and collect power-ups, including enhanced weapons and shields. The game's speed intensifies as players progress, demanding quick reflexes and strategic shooting. A notable feature is the cooperative multiplayer mode, allowing two players to team up and tackle the challenges together. A standout aspect of N2O is its dynamic soundtrack, composed by the electronic music duo The Crystal Method. The game's music is stored in Redbook format, enabling the disc to double as an audio CD when played in standard CD players. This integration of high-energy electronic tracks enhances the game's immersive and psychedelic atmosphere. N2O received praise for its engaging gameplay and audio-visual presentation. The New York Times highlighted its aesthetics and seamless, fast-paced gameplay, suggesting that the game is best experienced at high volume and in total darkness to maximize the audio-visual impact. GamePro also commended the game, stating, "In the end, N2O is definitely worth the price of admission and is a great shooter for your library." For those interested in experiencing N2O today, the game has been re-released on various platforms, including the PlayStation Network and Steam, ensuring its accessibility to modern audiences. Roscoe McQueen, Firefighter Extreme, 1997. Coming up next is an action-adventure game developed by Slippery Snake Studios and published by Sony Computer Entertainment in Europe, with Psygnosis handling the North American release. In this game, players assume the role of Roscoe McQueen, a firefighter tasked with thwarting the nefarious plans of Sylvester T. Square and his army of destructive robots. The primary objective is to extinguish fires across 15 levels, each presenting unique challenges and hazards, including backdrafts, electrical fires, and choking smoke. Equipped with a water hose connected to a portable water pack, Roscoe can refill his supply by collecting water bottles scattered throughout the levels. Additionally, he wields an axe to dismantle robots, deactivate power boxes, activate switches, and break down obstacles that impede his progress. Players must monitor the temperature closely. If it becomes too hot, the mission fails. Game rankings reported an average score of 57%. Critics appreciated the game's unique firefighting premise, but noted shortcomings in control responsiveness and overall fun factor. Harmful Park, 1997. Harmful Park, released exclusively in Japan for the PlayStation in 1997, is a horizontally scrolling shooter developed and published by SkyThink System. The game is set within a whimsical theme park where players control one of two daughters of a scientist, piloting flying machines to reclaim the park from the antagonist, Dr. Tequila, who has turned the attractions into hostile entities. The gameplay is characterized by its cute-em-up style, reminiscent of Konami's Parodius series, featuring vibrant graphics and a humorous tone. Players navigate through 6 stages, each filled with quirky enemies like gorillas, inflatable dinosaurs, and a gigantic woman. The arsenal includes unconventional weapons such as the pie spread, which fires continuously, and the jelly boomerang, a tracking shot with lower attack power. Additionally, the game offers 3 minigames, adding variety to the experience. This game received a score of 26 out of 40 from Famitsu, a Japanese gaming magazine. Despite its limited release, the game has garnered a following over the years, praised for its charming presentation and engaging gameplay. In 2014, Eurogamer listed it among gaming's most valuable treasures, highlighting its graphics and humor, and noting that while not particularly difficult, it possesses a unique personality. RetroGamer also recognized it, placing it at number 6 on their list of the 20 greatest PlayStation games you've never played. Eternal Eyes, 2000. This next one is a tactical role-playing game developed by Tam Tam and published by Sunsoft and Crave Entertainment. The game combines traditional strategy RPG elements with a monster collecting aspect, reminiscent of titles like Pokemon. The storyline centers on Luke, a young boy from the tribe of the Eternal Eyes, who possesses the unique ability to animate magical puppets known as Mappets using enchanted jewels. As an ancient evil threatens to resurrect the goddess of destruction, Luna, Luke embarks on a quest to prevent this catastrophe, utilizing his powers to command Mappets in battle. Gameplay involves grid-based tactical combat, where players position characters strategically to outmaneuver enemies. Luke is the sole human character under direct control. The rest of the party comprises Mappets, which can be captured, evolved, and customized using various colored gems. Each gem combination influences a Mappet's abilities and evolution path, adding depth to the monster-raising mechanic. Eternal Eyes received mixed to unfavorable reviews. Critics noted that while the game offered a combination of strategy and monster collecting, it lacked depth in both areas. The graphics were considered subpar for the time, with blocky character sprites and simplistic environments. The storyline, though containing elements of intrigue, was critiqued for poor delivery and character development. Additionally, the game's battle system was seen as overly simplistic, lacking the strategic complexity found in other titles of the genre. Despite its shortcomings, Eternal Eyes holds a certain charm for enthusiasts of tactical RPGs, particularly those interested in games that incorporate monster-raising mechanics. Zanak X, Zanak, 2001. Released in 2001 for the PlayStation, this one is a shoot-'em-up game developed by Compile to commemorate the 15th anniversary of the original Zanak series. This compilation includes the original Zanak game in 3 versions, ROM, disc, and a special mode, as well as a new title, Zanak Neo, which features enhanced graphics, additional ships, and 2-player cooperative gameplay. Zanak Neo introduces polygonal graphics and special effects, along with a more comprehensive storyline presented through cutscenes. Players can choose from different ships, each equipped with its own upgradable arsenal, adding depth and variety to the gameplay. Notably, Zanak Neo supports 2-player co-op, a first in Compile's history, allowing players to team up and tackle the challenges together. Zanak X. Zanak was available exclusively in Japan and did not perform well commercially. making the original PlayStation disc a valuable collector's item. However, it has since been re-released on the PlayStation Network, including in North America, making it more accessible to fans of the genre. For enthusiasts of classic shoot-'em-up games, Zanuck x Zanuck offers a nostalgic experience. Its fast-paced action, diverse ship options, and cooperative gameplay make it a noteworthy title in the genre. Monkey Hero 1999. This one is an action-adventure game developed by Blam and published by Take-Two Interactive. The game draws inspiration from titles like The Legend of Zelda and Secret of Mana, featuring a top-down perspective with exploration, combat, and puzzle-solving elements. The storyline follows Monkey, a spirited protagonist tasked with restoring harmony among the dream, nightmare, and waking realms. Guided by Master Sage, Monkey embarks on a quest to retrieve the scattered pages of the Magic Storybook, a powerful artifact essential for maintaining balance between the realms. Throughout the journey, players encounter diverse environments, including mines, forests, and dungeons, each filled with challenges and adversaries. Gameplay involves navigating through various dungeons, solving intricate puzzles, and engaging in combat using a bamboo staff and other acquired weapons. Players can collect items such as fruits to replenish health and discover equipment that enables progression by overcoming specific obstacles. The game incorporates a whimsical, manga-inspired art style, utilizing both 2D and 3D graphics to create a vibrant and engaging world. The game received mixed reviews. Critics noted its similarities to established action-adventure games, but pointed out issues such as lackluster graphics, control responsiveness, and overall execution. For instance, GameSpot described it as one of the worst PlayStation games in recent memory, citing poor design and aesthetics. Monkey Hero has garnered a niche following among enthusiasts of retro action-adventure games, appreciated for its homage to classic titles and its incorporation of elements from Chinese folklore. Dreams to Reality 1997. Dreams to Reality, developed and published by Cryo Interactive in 1997, is a third-person action-adventure game that immerses players in a surreal journey between the realms of dreams and reality. The narrative centers on Duncan, the protagonist, who is tasked with thwarting an evil group intent on controlling the subconscious realm. Players navigate through fantastical dreamscapes, utilizing abilities such as walking, flying, and swimming to overcome obstacles and adversaries. The gameplay gives us elements of exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, requiring players to gather magical powers and weapons while forming alliances with various characters encountered throughout the journey. The game's design allows for diverse movement mechanics, enhancing the immersive experience as players traverse the intricate landscapes of the dream world. PC Gamer UK, for instance, praised the game's graphics, but described it as an unsatisfying mix of twee adventure, half-baked action, awarding it a score of 65 out of 100. Danger Girl 2000. Released for the PlayStation, this is a third-person shooter developed by N-Space and published by THQ. The game is based on the Danger Girl comic book series created by J. Scott Campbell and Andy Hartnell, following the adventures of a team of female secret agents. In the game, players control three main characters: Abby Chase, Sydney Savage, and a new recruit named JC. Each character possesses certain abilities and equipment, such as Sydney's whip and Abby's expertise in firearms. The objective is to thwart the plans of the Hammer Empire, led by Major Maxim and Natalia Castle, across 12 levels filled with enemies and interactive puzzles. The gameplay combines shooting mechanics with stealth and puzzle-solving elements, requiring players to navigate various terrains and confront adversaries strategically. Critics noted that while the game stayed true to its comic book roots, it suffered from issues such as unresponsive controls, lackluster graphics, and repetitive gameplay. Some rated the game 3.2 out of 10, criticizing its execution and overall design. Similarly, GameSpot awarded it a 3.9 out of 10, pointing out its shortcomings in gameplay mechanics and visual presentation. Apocalypse, 1998. This next one is a third-person shooter developed by Neversoft and published by Activision in 1998, featuring Bruce Willis as the protagonist, Trey Kincaid. In a dystopian future, Kincaid, a former scientist, must thwart the plans of the Reverend, a madman intent on unleashing the four horsemen of the apocalypse to bring about the end of the world. Kincaid's arsenal includes a standard submachine gun with infinite ammo, alongside special weapons like flamethrowers and grenade launchers. Players can also utilize smart bombs to eliminate multiple enemies simultaneously. Kincaid's agility enables him to jump, crouch, roll, and navigate environmental obstacles, adding a platforming element to the gameplay. Initially, Bruce Willis's character was intended to be an AI-controlled sidekick, with the player assuming the role of a mercenary. However, during development, the design shifted to make Kincaid the main playable character, reducing the scope of Willis's voice work primarily to one-liners and brief dialogue. Willis's likeness was incorporated into the character model through cyberscanning and motion capture techniques. The game's soundtrack features tracks from artists such as System of a Down and Poe, enhancing its intense atmosphere. Notably, the technology developed for the game allowed live-action music videos from these artists to be projected on large screens within the game's environments. Critics praised its fast-paced action and the novelty of featuring a major Hollywood star, but noted that the gameplay lacked depth and innovation. Despite this, the game has garnered a cult following over the years, appreciated for its celebrity involvement and classic shooter mechanics. Blast Chamber, 1996. Released in 1996 for the PlayStation and Sega Saturn, this is an action puzzle game developed by Attention to Detail and published by Activision. Notably, it was the first non-sports four-player game for these consoles. Set in a futuristic arena, players are equipped with time bombs strapped to their chests. The primary objective is to secure a crystal orb and deposit it into a reactor before time elapses, preventing detonation. The game's distinctive feature is its 3D rotatable chambers. Players can rotate the environment by interacting with specific walls, transforming floors into ceilings and vice versa. This mechanic is essential for navigating obstacles such as platforms, spike pits, and giant fans. It is to be noted that while the single-player mode offered a unique puzzle experience, the multiplayer modes were chaotic, reducing gameplay to characters bumping into each other. Blast Chamber holds a place in gaming history as an early example of multiplayer action puzzle games, introducing innovative mechanics that challenged players' spatial awareness and strategic thinking. Auto-Destruct, 1998. This game is a mission-based vehicular combat game developed by Neurostone and published by Electronic Arts. Set in a near-future scenario, players assume the role of a retired race car driver named Booth, whose family was tragically killed by a terrorist cult known as the Disciples of Lazarus. Driven by vengeance, Booth collaborates with a clandestine organization called the Temple, which provides him with a heavily armed sports car to combat the cult's activities across various cities, including Los Angeles, New York, and Tokyo. The game features 25 missions with diverse objectives, such as seek and destroy tasks, escort duties, and defense assignments. Players navigate expansive urban environments, managing resources like fuel, ammunition, and armor while utilizing weapons, including machine guns, missiles, and plasma cannons. The gameplay emphasizes strategic resource management and mission variety, setting it apart from other vehicular combat games of its time. Critics praised the game's expansive 3D city environments and mission diversity, but noted that the graphics appeared dated, resembling early PlayStation titles. The music and sound effects were also described as generic. Next Generation remarked that the game is a good ride, but it could have been much more. Reviews on the internet echoed similar sentiments, stating that while the game is pretty entertaining, it is not terribly original or exciting. Despite its shortcomings, Auto-destruct gives us both of driving and shooting mechanics within a mission-based structure. Ball Breakers 2000, also known as Moho in Europe. This one is an action game developed by Lost Toys and published by Take-Two Interactive in 2000 for PlayStation, Dreamcast, and Windows platform. Set in a futuristic prison planet, the game features inmates whose legs have been replaced with spherical devices, compelling them to navigate arenas by rolling. The game offers several modes, such as Last Man Rolling, where players battle to be the sole survivor, and Run the Gauntlet, which involves racing through obstacle courses. Its unique physics system and deformable terrain add depth to the gameplay experience. Upon release, Ball Breakers received mixed reviews. People noted that while the game was surprisingly fun for its price point, it might not offer long-term engagement. The game is available for download on various abandonware sites, allowing players to explore its blend of action and physics-based gameplay firsthand. Alien Resurrection 2000. This game rolled out in 2000 for the PlayStation and is a first-person shooter developed by Argonaut Games and published by Fox Interactive. The game is based on the 1997 film of the same name and follows a cloned Lieutenant Ellen Ripley aboard the USM Auriga, where xenomorphs have escaped containment. Players navigate through the ship's corridors, combating various alien creatures and human enemies, while managing limited ammunition and health supplies. The game employs a dual analog control scheme, which was innovative at the time, allowing one stick for movement and the other for aiming. This control setup, though standard in modern gaming, was initially challenging for players. Upon release, Alien Resurrection received mixed reviews. Critics praised its atmospheric design and adherence to the film's tone, but criticized its steep difficulty curve and control mechanics. Despite these critiques, the game has since been recognized for its contribution to the evolution of first-person shooter controls on consoles. Darkstone Evil Reigns 1999. This next one is an action role-playing game developed by Delphine Software International. The game draws inspiration from titles like Diablo, offering a medieval fantasy setting where players embark on quests to thwart the evil monk Drac, who seeks to drain the world of its life force. Players can choose from various character classes, including fighters, thieves, wizards, and priests, each with abilities and skills. The gameplay involves exploring procedurally generated dungeons, battling diverse enemies, and collecting items to enhance character attributes such as strength, magic, dexterity, and vitality. The game also features a central village that serves as a hub for trading, upgrading equipment, and learning new spells and skills. One of the notable aspects of Darkstone is its fully 3D environment, allowing players to adjust the camera perspective, which was innovative for its time. The game also offers a variety of quests, randomly selected in each playthrough, enhancing replayability. Additionally, the PC version allows players to control two characters simultaneously. Darkstone received generally positive reviews for its engaging gameplay and replay value. GameSpot praised its stability and bug-free experience, stating that it is one of the most amazingly stable and bug-free games they had played in a long time. IGN rated the game 6.9 out of 10, noting that while it may not surpass its inspirations, it offers a solid action RPG experience. For those interested in experiencing Darkstone, the game is available on modern platforms, including Steam, making it accessible to a new generation of players. Starblade Alpha 1997. Starblade Alpha is an enhanced port of Namco's 1991 arcade rail shooter Starblade. In this game, players assume the role of a gunner aboard the starfighter Geosword, tasked with navigating through enemy armadas to destroy the mechanical planet Red Eye, which poses a significant threat to Earth. The gameplay is on rails, meaning the ship's path is predetermined, allowing players to focus solely on aiming and shooting at incoming up-and-coming enemies and obstacles. Starblade Alpha offers both the original arcade mode and an enhanced mode featuring updated graphics with textured polygons, providing a refreshed visual experience while maintaining the core mechanics of the original game. Starblade Alpha received mixed reviews. Critics praised its impressive 3D graphics and faithful recreation of the arcade experience, but noted its short length and limited gameplay depth. The game's straightforward shooting mechanics were seen as both a strength and a limitation, appealing to fans of classic arcade shooters while lacking the complexity expected by some players. For fans of retro rail shooters and those interested in experiencing a piece of gaming history, Starblade Alpha offers a nostalgic journey reminiscent of early 90s arcade action. Gradius Gaiden 1997. This is a horizontal scrolling shooter developed and published by Konami. As a side story within the Gradius series, it introduces new features and enhancements to the classic gameplay. In the game, players can choose from 4 distinct starships: the Vic Viper, Lord British, Jade Knight, and Falcon V. The game allows customization of the power meter, enabling players to arrange power-ups to suit their playstyle. Notably, it was the first in the series to support 2-player simultaneous gameplay, adding a cooperative dimension to the experience. The game features detailed 2D graphics with impressive effects such as rotation and transparency, showcasing the PlayStation's capabilities. The soundtrack, composed by Norikazu Miura, complements the action with dynamic music. Gradius Gaiden received acclaim for its visuals, gameplay, and creativity, with some considering it one of the best entries in the Gradius series. However, it was initially available only in Japan and did not see an international release until it was included in the Gradius collection for the PlayStation Portable in 2006. Sentinel Returns 1998. Released in 1998 for Windows and PlayStation, it is a sequel to the 1986 game The Sentinel, developed by Hookstone and published by Psygnosis. This puzzle game challenges players to navigate 651 surreal 3D landscapes, absorbing energy and strategically gaining height to ultimately defeat the Sentinel overseeing each level. The gameplay involves transferring consciousness between robotic synthoids to ascend the terrain, all while avoiding the gaze of the Sentinel and its sentries, who can drain the player's energy if spotted. The objective is to reach a vantage point higher than the Sentinel to absorb its energy and progress to the next level. The game's atmosphere is enhanced by a haunting soundtrack composed by John Carpenter, adding to its eerie and immersive experience. The PC version was praised for its challenging gameplay and atmospheric design, while the PlayStation version received more varied feedback, with some critics noting that it might appeal more to fans of the original game. For those interested in experiencing Sentinel Returns, the game is available for download on various abandonware sites. Shipwreckers 1997, also known as Overboard. In Europe, it is an action-adventure game developed and published by Psygnosis in 1997 for the PlayStation and Windows platforms. The game combines naval combat with puzzle-solving elements, offering a light-hearted piratical theme suitable for all ages. In Shipwreckers, players command a pirate ship, navigating through various treacherous environments filled with enemy vessels, traps, and obstacles. The gameplay is presented from an overhead perspective, allowing players to steer their ship, engage in combat, and solve interconnected puzzles across multiple levels. The ship is equipped with an array of weapons, including cannons that fire from the sides, requiring strategic positioning during battles. As players progress, they can collect treasures and power-ups to enhance their ship's capabilities. The game features both single-player and multiplayer modes. Critics praised its originality and simple play mechanics, but noted that it lacked depth compared to other titles available during the crowded holiday season. IGN commented that while the game wasn't bad, there were many other great games out at the time, making it a less compelling purchase. Next Generation echoed this sentiment, stating that the game is fun and quirky, but falls short amid the abundance of great games. Legend of Legaia, 1998. The story unfolds in a world shrouded by a mysterious mist which corrupts living beings and machinery alike. Players follow Varn, a determined hero from the small village of Rim Elm, as he partners with sentient creatures called Saru to combat the spreading darkness and uncover the mist's origins. Along the way, Varn is joined by Noah, a wild child raised by wolves, and Gala, a monk with a stoic demeanor, forming an unlikely trio. The game's most memorable feature is its tactical arts battle system, a hybrid of turn-based strategy and fighting game mechanics. During combat, players input directional commands to execute standard attacks or trigger powerful arts combos. Each character has abilities unlocked by experimenting with different combinations, rewarding creative experimentation over static strategies. The sense of discovery is heightened by the ability to bond with Saru, who grant characters magic spells and enhance their stats. While Legend of Legaia didn't achieve the mainstream fame of its contemporaries, it remains a cult favorite, celebrated for its unconventional mechanics and heartfelt story. It stands as a gem for RPG enthusiasts seeking something refreshingly distinct. Trap Gunner, Countdown to Oblivion, 1998. Trap Gunner, Countdown to Oblivion is a distinctive action strategy game developed by Rakdim and published by Atlus in 1998 for the PlayStation. The game combines elements of real-time strategy and arcade-style action, offering both single-player and multiplayer modes. Players assume the roles of secret agents, skilled in espionage and demolition, engaging in battles within various arenas. The primary objective is to outmaneuver opponents by setting invisible traps, such as mines, pitfalls, and gas bombs, while simultaneously avoiding those set by adversaries. Each character is equipped with unique melee weapons and abilities. The game features a story mode that delves into each character's background and their connections to other agents, enhancing the narrative experience. Additionally, the Versus mode allows for competitive play, where two players can test their strategic prowess against each other. Trap Gunner received above-average reviews. GamePro highlighted its blend of real-time strategy and fighting elements, suggesting it would appeal to fans of both genres. Next Generation referred to it as one of the season's sleeper hits, indicating its potential to surprise players with its engaging gameplay. Silhouette Mirage, 2000. Developed by Treasure and released in 1997, this one is a 2D action side-scrolling game that introduces a unique gameplay mechanic centered around two opposing attributes, Silhouette and Mirage. The protagonist, Shiner Nera Shiner, embodies both attributes, allowing her to switch between them by facing different directions. Facing right activates her Mirage form, while facing left activates her Silhouette form. This duality is crucial, as enemies also possess these attributes and can only be damaged by the opposite type. Shiner's versatility extends beyond her dual attributes. She can perform a range of actions, including triple jumps, crawling, dashing, and running along walls and ceilings. Additionally, Shiner can reflect enemy projectiles and utilize various parasite weapons, each offering distinct attack styles such as single shots, homing blasts, and powerful lasers. These weapons can be purchased from in-game vendors using coins collected from defeated enemies or obtained through a technique called Cash Bash, where Shiner mugs enemies to acquire more currency. The game's storyline unfolds in a post-apocalyptic setting where a failed system known as Edo has led to the division of the world's inhabitants into Silhouette and Mirage beings. Shiner's mission is to repair Edo and restore balance. Edge magazine described it as a frantic, polished battle with novel mechanics, though they noted it could sometimes devolve into mindless button bashing. Next Generation praised Treasure's innovation within the 2D genre, acknowledging the game's success despite some unbalanced power-ups. Alundra, 1997. This game follows the protagonist, Alundra, a young man with the ability to enter people's dreams. After being shipwrecked near the village of Inoa, he discovers that the villagers are plagued by deadly nightmares. Utilizing his dream-walking abilities, Alundra delves into their subconscious minds to confront and eradicate the manifestations of their fears. The gameplay offers real-time combat, intricate puzzles, and platforming elements, presented from a top-down perspective reminiscent of early The Legend of Zelda titles. Players navigate through various dungeons and environments, solving complex puzzles and battling enemies to progress. The game is renowned for its challenging puzzles and engaging storyline, which delves into mature themes and character development. Critically acclaimed for its narrative, gameplay, and soundtrack composed by Kohei Tanaka, Alundra is often regarded as one of the standout action-adventure titles of its era. Its blend of exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, along with its mature storytelling, has earned it a dedicated fan base and a lasting legacy in the genre. 1997. Released in 1997 for the Sony PlayStation, this is a third-person action shooter developed by Visual Concepts. The game follows John Kane, a man who awakens with no memory and discovers that one of his arms has been replaced with a powerful gun. As he navigates through a series of three-dimensional action stages, Kane is pursued by relentless military forces, compelling him to uncover the truth behind his transformation and lost identity. The gameplay emphasizes high-intensity action, with Kane utilizing his gun arm to battle a variety of enemies across 5 multi-level 3D worlds. Players can execute flips, climbs, hangs, slides, and engage in both ranged and melee combat. A unique feature is the rage meter, which builds up as Kane takes damage, enhancing his abilities and allowing for more devastating attacks. One received mixed reviews. Critics praised its cinematic presentation and visual design, but noted frustrations with gameplay mechanics. Some lauded the game's level designs and intense action, while others felt that certain gameplay elements detracted from the overall experience. For those interested in experiencing one, the game was re-released as a PSown classic for download on the PlayStation Network, making it accessible on modern PlayStation consoles. Wild Arms, 1996. Set in the world of Filgaia, the game blends elements of fantasy and Western genres, creating a unique setting for its narrative. The story follows 3 main characters: Rudy, a young boy capable of operating ancient relic machines, arms; Sak, a treasure hunter seeking power; and Cecilia, a princess with the ability to communicate with guardians, the spiritual protectors of Filgaia. Together, they embark on a quest to save their world from the malevolent metal demons. Gameplay involves exploring dungeons, solving puzzles, and engaging in turn-based battles. The game utilizes 2D graphics for exploration and 3D graphics during combat sequences. Each character possesses unique tools and abilities that are essential for overcoming obstacles and progressing through the game. The game was successful enough to spawn a series of sequels and an enhanced remake titled Wild Arms Alter Code F, released for the PlayStation 2 in 2003. For those interested in experiencing Wild Arms, the original game is available on the PlayStation Network. Additionally, the game was included in the PlayStation Classic mini console, released in 2018. Nectaris, Military Madness, 1998. Set in the late 21st century, the main campaign unfolds on the lunar surface, where humanity has established colonies. In 2089, the aggressive Xenon Empire devastates several lunar outposts. Survivors from the largest base, Nectaris, plan a counter-offensive against the Xenon forces. Players assume the role of the Union Forces Commander, leading over 30 tactical battles across hexagonal grids. Success depends on understanding each unit's strengths and weaknesses, as well as strategic positioning influenced by terrain, support fire, and encirclement effects. In addition to the main campaign, the game includes the original campaign from the 1989 release, allowing players to experience the classic missions with updated graphics. The mini-campaigns feature over 40 fan-created maps of varying sizes, offering fresh strategic scenarios. Completing all campaigns unlocks the single scenario mode, which supports 2-player battles for competitive play. The game also features a scenario editor, enabling players to craft and customize their own battlefields, enhancing replayability. Nectaris, Military Madness was praised for its deep strategic gameplay and the inclusion of both new and original content. For those interested in experiencing this classic strategy game, Nectaris, Military Madness is available for purchase through various online retailers and auction sites. C12 Final Resistance 2001, released in 2001 for the PlayStation, is a third-person shooter developed by Sony Computer Entertainment's Cambridge studio. Set in a dystopian future, the game follows Lieutenant Riley Vaughn, a cybernetically enhanced soldier fighting against an alien invasion intent on harvesting Earth's carbon resources. Gameplay involves navigating through war-torn urban environments, engaging in combat with alien forces and their cyborg minions. Players utilize a variety of weapons and can switch to a first-person perspective for precise aiming, adding a tactical layer to the action. The game also incorporates puzzle-solving elements, requiring players to search for items and clues to progress through missions. Upon release, critics noted its solid mechanics and atmospheric design, but felt it lacked innovation compared to contemporaries in the genre. GameSpot described it as a strictly average action game, highlighting issues with combat mechanics and camera control, though acknowledging the visuals were commendable given the hardware limitations. For those interested in experiencing C12 Final Resistance, physical copies can be found through various online marketplaces specializing in retro games. Additionally, the game was included in a twin-pack CD bundled with Medieval in 2003, offering another avenue for collectors and enthusiasts. Klonoa Door to Phantomile 1997. Developed by Namco and released in 1997 for the PlayStation, this game is widely regarded as one of the most innovative and heartfelt platformers of its era. The game combines 2D side-scrolling gameplay with 3D rendered visuals, creating a unique 2.5D experience. Players take control of Klonoa, a dreamlike anthropomorphic creature, and his spirit companion Huepao, embarking on a quest to save the dream world of Phantomile from Gladiator, an evil figure seeking to plunge the world into nightmares. The game begins with Klonoa experiencing a prophetic dream of a crash near the Bell of Wind. This event unfolds as Gladiator and his accomplice Joker kidnap Lefoise, a singer whose melody sustains the balance of Phantomile. Klonoa and Huepao set out on an adventure to rescue her, revealing hidden truths about their connection to the dream world. The story is emotionally charged, with themes of friendship and sacrifice culminating in an unforgettable conclusion. These enemies can be thrown to activate switches, attack foes, or used as stepping stones for a double jump. While players move along a 2D path, the levels are designed with 3D elements, creating a dynamic interplay between the foreground and background. Each level, called a vision, is crafted with challenges that emphasize strategic thinking and exploration. The game remains a cult classic, influencing platformers for years to come. The game's legacy includes multiple sequels and spin-offs, as well as a high-definition remake included in the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series 2022, which brought the title to modern platforms. This has helped introduce the series to a new generation of players. For fans of platformers with depth and emotional resonance, Klonoa Door to Phantomile is a standout experience. Tomba 1998. Tomba combines classic 2D platforming with RPG-inspired exploration and side quests, creating a unique hybrid experience. Players step into the shoes of Tomba, a wild pink-haired boy, on a mission to recover his stolen golden bracelet from a group of mischievous pigs called the Evil Pigs. The story unfolds in a whimsical world teeming with quirky characters and varied environments, ranging from lush forests to lava caves. As Tomba navigates these areas, he discovers that the evil pigs have cursed the land, corrupting its natural beauty. To lift the curses, Tomba must collect special evil pig bags and defeat the pigs in their hidden lairs, restoring balance to the world. The narrative is simple yet charming, enriched by humorous interactions and a lively atmosphere. Tomba interacts with the environment in unique ways, such as grappling onto ledges, biting enemies, and using weapons like boomerangs and slingshots. The game also introduces a quest system, with over 130 optional and mandatory missions that reward players with items, experience points, or story progression. Critics praised the game for its originality, engaging mechanics, and humor, though its niche appeal and relatively low marketing visibility made it a sleeper hit rather than a blockbuster. Fear Effect 2000. Next up, is an action-adventure game developed by Kronos Digital Entertainment and published by Eidos Interactive. The game is known for its innovative visual style, blending cel-shaded graphics with pre-rendered animated backgrounds, creating a cinematic noir atmosphere. It combines survival horror elements with a fast-paced, story-driven narrative. The story follows three mercenaries, Hannah, Glass, and Deke, on a mission to recover the kidnapped daughter of a powerful Chinese businessman. Set in a futuristic cyberpunk version of Hong Kong, the plot takes unexpected turns, delving into supernatural realms inspired by Chinese mythology. Gameplay mixes exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, with an emphasis on tactical decision-making. Players switch between the three protagonists, each with unique skills and weapon proficiencies. The game's standout mechanic is its fear meter, which replaces the traditional health bar. The meter fluctuates based on the character's mental states, influenced by environmental dangers and combat situations. Maintaining a balanced fear level is critical for survival, as higher fear levels make characters more vulnerable. It's still a must-play for PlayStation enthusiasts. Einhänder, 1997. Einhänder, developed by Squaresoft and released in 1997 for the PlayStation, is a visually stunning horizontal shoot-'em-up that diverged from the studio's RPG-heavy portfolio. Set in a dystopian future where the moon wages war against Earth, the game introduces players to a high-tech spacecraft equipped with versatile weapon systems, delivering fast-paced action and strategic depth. The story unfolds in a gritty sci-fi setting where players pilot an Einhänder, a highly maneuverable assault fighter deployed by Moon's forces. As the sole operator behind enemy lines, your mission is to dismantle Earth's military power by destroying key targets. The narrative, while minimalistic, is told through visual cues, mission briefings, and in-game action, emphasizing the game's immersive world-building. Gameplay is defined by its dynamic weapon system. Each ship can equip multiple gun pods, detachable weaponry dropped by enemies that offer diverse attack options, from machine guns and lasers to homing missiles. Players can toggle between different gun pods or reposition them for tactical advantage, enabling both offensive and defensive strategies. Einhänder pushed the PlayStation hardware to its limits with 3D environments and cinematic camera angles that enhanced the sense of scale and intensity during boss battles. The game's techno-industrial soundtrack, composed by Kenichiro Fukui, perfectly complements the futuristic setting, amplifying the adrenaline-pumping action. Threads of Fate, 1999. Threads of Fate offers a unique dual protagonist system, allowing players to experience two interconnected narratives with distinct tones and gameplay styles. The story takes place in a vibrant fantasy world, centering on two characters with contrasting motivations. Rue, a stoic and determined warrior, seeks a powerful relic to resurrect a lost friend. Mint, a fiery and ambitious princess, desires the same relic to reclaim her throne and achieve world domination. Players choose one character at the outset, and each story provides a different perspective on the overarching plot, blending humor, drama, and heartfelt moments. Rue's gameplay focuses on his ability to transform into defeated enemies, adopting their abilities for combat and puzzle solving. Mint, on the other hand, specializes in magic, wielding a variety of offensive spells to tackle enemies and obstacles. The game features dynamic environments, challenging platforming sections, and boss battles that test both reflexes and strategy. Exploration is rewarded with treasures, upgrades, and insights into the world's lore. Threads of Fate showcases colorful, detailed graphics with expressive character animations that bring its cast to life. However, its relatively short length and linear progression were seen as drawbacks compared to other Squaresoft titles. Despite this, Threads of Fate has developed a loyal fanbase over the years, appreciated for its unique dual narrative structure and replayability. Vanguard Bandits, 1998. Set on the continent of Eptina, the game unfolds in a medieval fantasy world where knights pilot mechanized suits called attacks, all-terrain armored combatants. The narrative centers on Bastian, a young warrior drawn into a conflict against the Junaris Empire, aiming to restore peace to the war-torn land. Gameplay involves strategic, turn-based battles on isometric grids, where players command a squad of ATACs. Each unit's actions consume action points, AP, and attacks generate fatigue points, FP. Accumulating too much FP can incapacitate a unit temporarily. The game features 20 missions across 3 branching storylines, with multiple endings influenced by player choices during narrative sequences and battles. Critics praised Vanguard Bandits for its engaging tactical combat and branching narratives, though some noted its dated graphics and steep learning curve. Despite these critiques, it has garnered a dedicated fanbase appreciative of its depth and replayability. Koudelka, 1999, set in 1898 within the haunted Nemerton Monastery in Wales. The game follows Koudelka Iasan, a young psychic who is drawn to the monastery by a mysterious call. There, she encounters Edward Plunkett, an adventurer, and Bishop James O'Flaherty. Together, they uncover the monastery's dark secrets and confront the malevolent forces within. The gameplay combines exploration and puzzle solving, typical of survival horror, with turn-based, grid-based combat reminiscent of traditional RPGs. Players navigate the monastery's eerie environments, solving intricate puzzles to progress, while engaging in strategic battles against various supernatural entities. This fusion of genres offers a distinctive experience, setting Koudelka apart from its contemporaries. Koudelka received mixed reviews. Some criticized its combat system for being slow and its overall gameplay for lacking depth compared to other RPGs of the time. Despite these critiques, the game has garnered a cult following, particularly among fans of the Shadow Hearts series, which it precedes. For those interested in experiencing Koudelka, physical copies can occasionally be found through online marketplaces specializing in retro games. Additionally, the game has been discussed and reviewed extensively in gaming communities, providing further insights into its gameplay and legacy. Soul of the Samurai, 1999. Set during Japan's Tenmei era, the game offers players a choice between 2 protagonists, Kotaro Hiba, a masterless samurai, Ronin, and Lin, a teenage female ninja. Each character embarks on a distinct yet intertwined journey, uncovering a conspiracy involving a missing gold shipment and supernatural elements threatening the land. Gameplay involves navigating pre-rendered environments reminiscent of titles like Resident Evil, focusing on close-quarters combat with bladed weapons. Players can execute various attack combinations and utilize different swords, each with unique attributes such as speed, length, and sharpness. The game emphasizes strategic combat, requiring players to master dodging and parrying to effectively counter diverse enemy types. Critics praised its atmospheric depiction of feudal Japan and engaging swordplay mechanics, but noted that the narrative and character development were less compelling. The game's fixed camera angles and control scheme drew comparisons to other action-adventure titles of the era, with some reviewers finding these aspects both familiar and limiting. For enthusiasts of samurai lore and action-adventure games set in historical contexts, Soul of the Samurai offers a concise experience that blends traditional sword fighting with supernatural intrigue.
Welcome to Incredible Crisis.
Incredible Crisis, 1999, also known in Japan as Tondemo Crisis. This one is a quirky action game developed by Polygon Magic and released for the PlayStation in 1999. The game centers on the Tanamatsuri family, who each experience a series of bizarre and humorous events while trying to make it home in time for Grandmother Hatsu's birthday celebration. Gameplay consists of a collection of 24 minigames, each presenting challenges that range from rhythm-based tasks to puzzle solving and reflex tests. Players control different family members, Taneo, Etsuko, Tsuyoshi, and Ririka, navigating scenarios such as escaping from a runaway boulder, performing complex dance routines, and even dealing with alien abductions. The game's distinctive humor and over-the-top situations contribute to its cult classic status. The soundtrack, composed by the Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, complements the game's energetic and whimsical tone, enhancing the overall experience. Incredible Crisis received generally favorable reviews, with critics praising its originality and entertaining minigames, though some noted its brevity and repetitive gameplay. The game holds a Metacritic score reflecting these mixed sentiments. Shadow Tower, 1998. Set in the Holy Land of Zeptar, players assume the role of Roos Hardy, a mercenary who returns home to find his city and its central tower have been consumed by the underworld. Armed with the Dark One's sword, Roos ventures into the depths to rescue the inhabitants and confront the malevolent forces at play. The gameplay is characterized by its first-person perspective, where players engage in combat, search for hidden items, and interact with non-playable characters, NPCs. Unlike traditional RPGs, Shadow Tower does not feature a conventional experience point system. Instead, defeating various types of enemies incrementally increases specific character stats, allowing for a more customized progression. Additionally, each piece of equipment has a durability rating, meaning it will wear down over time and must eventually be repaired or replaced. Shadow Tower received mixed reviews. Critics praised its atmospheric setting and challenging gameplay, but noted its steep learning curve and lack of in-game music, which some felt detracted from the overall experience. Despite these critiques, the game has garnered a cult following, particularly among fans of From Software's later titles, such as the Dark Souls series, due to its similar themes and challenging mechanics. Additionally, the game has been discussed and reviewed extensively in gaming communities, providing further insights into its gameplay and legacy. Rising Zan, the Samurai Gunman, 1999. Lastly, we have an action-adventure game released for the PlayStation in 1999. The game uniquely blends Western and Eastern themes, following the protagonist, Johnny, a young cowboy who, after a near-fatal encounter with a mysterious assassin, trains in the ways of the samurai. He returns home as Zan to combat the evil samurai and ninja forces threatening the Wild West. In Rising Zan, players control Zan, wielding both a revolver and a katana. The gameplay emphasizes a combination of sword and gun combat, allowing for various combos and special moves. A notable feature is the Hustle mode, where Zan's sword extends in length, increasing his attack power and speed. The game also includes all button events, requiring players to press all controller buttons rapidly to execute powerful finishing moves. Rising Zan received mixed to positive reviews. Critics praised its unique premise, humor, and soundtrack, but critiqued aspects of its gameplay and controls. The game's distinctive blend of genres and over-the-top action have since earned it a cult following. Cooler World, 1998. Let's talk about a game that's like a fever dream you'd have after eating too much candy, if that candy was laced with pure, unfiltered genius. Released in 1998, this puzzler/platformer puts you in control of a beach ball. Yes, a literal beach ball, as you navigate gravity-defying levels that look like Escher sketches on vacation. The plot, if you can call it that, is charmingly non-existent. You're a beach ball exploring surreal floating levels filled with coins, keys and traps, all while avoiding spikes, lasers, and other hazards that are apparently out to ruin your spherical life. The real star, though, is the gameplay. You roll, bounce, and flip across these increasingly challenging levels, with gravity constantly shifting to mess with your spatial awareness. It's part puzzler, part platformer, and all brain-bending madness. Add a timer and some bonus items to collect, and you've got a game that will have you alternating between I'm a genius and what fresh hell is this? This game dropped in a time when flashy 3D action games like Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy VII dominated the scene. Who had time for a quiet, minimalist puzzler starring a beach ball? But here's the thing, Cooler World was ahead of its time, with its unique mechanics, sharp visuals, and a soundtrack that's straight up chill. Critics loved it, but it never got the recognition it deserved from the mainstream. Gun Gauge, 1999. Let's rewind to 1999, a year when the PS1 was flooded with blockbusters like Final Fantasy VIII and Metal Gear Solid. Nestled among these giants was Gun Gauge, a third-person shooter that dared to be quirky, chaotic, and criminally overlooked. Developed by Konami, it's the kind of game that makes you wonder, how did I miss this gem? The plot is classic late 90s sci-fi bonkers. Earth is under attack by alien creatures called Xenos, and it's up to you and a ragtag group of characters to save the planet. Each character brings their own flavor to the action. Ryudo is your typical hot-headed hero with a massive gun. Card is a cyborg with serious attitude. Steyr is a young girl with psychic powers, and D is a mysterious soldier with a past. The story isn't groundbreaking, but it serves as a fun backdrop for all the explosive mayhem. You shoot, dodge, and strafe through hordes of enemies in varied environments, from futuristic cities to alien wastelands. Each character's unique abilities and weapons add a layer of strategy, keeping the action fresh. The controls can be a bit clunky by today's standards, but they're manageable once you get into the groove. Add in boss battles that feel like epic showdowns, and you've got a game that knows how to keep the adrenaline pumping. The Adventures of Little Ralph, 1999. This is a game that proves you don't need 3D graphics or a Hollywood plot to create pure magic. Released in 1999, this PS1 side-scrolling platformer is a heartfelt throwback to the golden age of 2D gaming, but with the polish and charm that only late-era PS1 titles could deliver. The story is deceptively simple, but packed with fairy tale charm. You play as Ralph, a young boy cursed into a childlike form after an encounter with a demonic entity. Armed with a sword and an unshakable sense of duty, Ralph sets off to rescue his kidnapped girlfriend and break the curse. As you progress, you unravel a touching tale of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable power of love. It's straightforward, but surprisingly emotional, especially for a platform. It's a side-scroller at heart, but with a few modern twists. The tight, responsive controls make platforming a joy, while the combat system, complete with sword swings, upward strikes, and the occasional throwable item, adds depth to the action. The levels are beautifully crafted, with varied environments ranging from lush forests to perilous caves, and even floating castles. The game also throws in clever puzzles and some truly epic boss fights, ensuring you're always on your toes. If you're a fan of 2D platformers with heart, humor, and a dash of melancholy, don't let this one stay little in your memory. Circuit Breakers, 1998. Before Mario Kart reigned supreme and Twisted Metal brought vehicular chaos, there was Circuit Breakers, a PS1 gem that revved up the fun in its own wild way. Released in 1998 by Mindscape, this top-down racing game is all about speed, skill, and a touch of sabotage. Think of it as micro-machines on adrenaline, with a dash of nostalgia for those who grew up on couch multiplayer chaos. The premise? Simple. Pick your car, hit the track, and leave your friends in the dust. You can choose from a variety of vehicles, each with distinct stats, and race across colourful, obstacle-filled tracks. From industrial zones to futuristic highways, every circuit is packed with tight turns, ramps, and shortcuts that reward players who master the art of timing and precision. Add in power-ups like speed boosts and weapons, and the gameplay quickly turns into a fast-paced, tactical battle for supremacy. Up to 4 players could duke it out. And let's just say, friendships were tested. Between the joy of overtaking someone on a tricky corner and the rage of being blasted by a missile right before the finish line, it was the kind of chaos that had everyone laughing or yelling well after the race ended. It launched at a time when the PS1 had a glut of racers, and games like Gran Turismo and Crash Team Racing stole the spotlight. Its simple graphics and lack of major marketing didn't help either, but for those who gave it a spin, it remains a hidden treasure of the PS1 library. Speedpunks, 2000. Back in 2000, when kart racers were vying for a slice of the Mario Kart pie, Speedpunks, or Speed Freaks in Europe, zipped onto the PS1 with enough chaotic energy to rival a sugar-fueled toddler. Developed by Funcom and published by Tony, this colourful, quirky racer brought its own brand of fast-paced madness to the genre. Even if it didn't quite steal the spotlight, you can pick a character, hop into a souped-up go-kart, and race across a variety of wild tracks. The cast is a lovable crew of misfits, each with unique personalities that add a splash of charm to the chaos. Whether you're speeding through candy-colored landscapes or dodging hazards in futuristic cityscapes, every track brims with vibrant, cartoonish energy that screams early 2000s whimsy. The gameplay is all about speed and sabotage. Races are fast, blisteringly so, and staying on the track while maintaining control is half the battle. Add a chaotic arsenal of power-ups like rockets, shields, and oil slicks, and you've got a recipe for high-octane hilarity. Tiny Tank, up your arsenal, 1999. In a world where robots wage war and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, who better to save the day than a wisecracking, pint-sized tank? Enter Tiny Tank, up your arsenal, a quirky third-person shooter released in 1999 by Appaloosa Interactive. Equal parts explosive action and sardonic humor, this PS1 title is a hidden gem for fans of offbeat storytelling and chaotic gameplay. The story kicks off with a darkly comedic twist. It's the distant future, and the world's automated war machines, led by the villainous Mutank, have rebelled against humanity. Tiny Tank, a scrappy prototype built with both firepower and personality, is humanity's last hope. Armed with a snarky attitude and enough ammunition to level a small country, Tiny embarks on a mission to destroy Mutank and save mankind. The game's cutscenes and dialogue are dripping with humor, making Tiny one of the most memorable and mouthy protagonists of the era. Gameplay-wise, Tiny Tank delivers fast-paced action in large, destructible environments. You'll blast enemies with an arsenal of weapons, lay mines, and even deploy mini-turrets for added firepower. The game's mechanics are surprisingly deep, with strategic elements like managing ammo and health while juggling multiple enemy waves. Levels are varied, ranging from industrial factories to open battlefields, each packed with secrets and challenges. And let's not forget the soundtrack, techno beats and orchestral tones that perfectly complements the game's high-energy vibe. Released alongside heavy hitters like Siphon Filter and Silent Hill, it struggled to find its audience. Its humor and premise appealed to a niche crowd, but it lacked the polish to compete with more mainstream titles. Treasure of the Deep. Let's take a deep dive into Treasure of the Deep, a 1997 PS1 game that's like a cross between Tomb Raider and Jaws, with a sprinkle of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for good measure. Developed by Black Ops Entertainment, this underwater adventure is one of the PS1's most unique offerings, an aquatic treasure trove that got lost in the shuffle of the late 90s gaming boom. The premise is simple yet intriguing. You're a deep-sea diver on a quest to recover sunken treasure. Sounds peaceful, right? Think again. The ocean is teeming with dangers, from aggressive sharks and jellyfish to enemy submarines and environmental hazards like mines and underwater volcanoes. Each mission takes you to a new underwater locale, from eerie shipwrecks to mysterious underwater caves, with the ultimate goal of finding riches while surviving the ocean's wrath. You navigate your diver or submarine through sprawling, open-ended levels, collecting treasure and completing objectives while managing oxygen and ammo. The controls take a bit of getting used to, because let's face it, maneuvering underwater is tricky, but once you get the hang of it, the game becomes an immersive experience. The tension is real. Hearing the ominous hum of a shark circling nearby is enough to make you clutch your controller a little tighter. So why is Treasure of the Deep underrated? For one, it came out during a time when flashy action games were the rage, and its slow-burn, methodical gameplay didn't appeal to everyone. Add in limited marketing and a lack of flashy visuals compared to contemporaries, and it's no surprise it slipped under the radar. Tale of the Sun, 1997. Let's travel back, way back, to the Stone Age with Tale of the Sun, a bizarre yet charming prehistoric adventure that hit the PS1 in 1997. Developed by ArtDink, the same studio behind A-Train, this game is part survival sim, part open-world experiment, and entirely unlike anything else of its era. It's quirky, slow-paced, and oddly hypnotic, a true cult classic for those who appreciate gaming's weirder side. The plot is simple. You lead a tribe of cavemen whose ultimate goal is to build a massive tower out of mammoth tusks to reach the sun. Why? Who knows? But it's Stone Age logic, so just roll with it. Your task is to hunt, gather, and explore the vast, surreal landscapes while ensuring your tribe survives. There's no linear progression or hand-holding. You're free to wander, discover, and survive at your own pace. Gameplay focuses on exploration and resource management. You control a caveman or woman who runs around collecting food, hunting animals, and dodging predators. Eat enough and your caveman grows stronger, making hunting larger prey, like mammoths, more feasible. The visuals are delightfully primitive, both by design and technological limitations, adding to the game's unique charm. The atmospheric soundscape, with its mix of nature sounds and eerie silence, perfectly complements the sense of solitude. Why is Tale of the Sun underrated? For one, it's unapologetically weird. Its slow, open-ended gameplay didn't resonate with players seeking fast-paced action or structured objectives. Plus, its minimalist aesthetic was a hard sell in the era of flashy 3D platformers. But for those who embraced its peculiarities, it offered a meditative, one-of-a-kind experience. Blast Radius, 1998. Blast Radius, the game that dared to take the Colony Wars formula, add a pinch of arcade chaos, and throw players into the cockpit of a starfighter with one mission: blow stuff up. Released in 1998 for the PS1, this intergalactic dogfighting gem is a hidden treasure for fans of space combat games who crave explosions, speed, and a sprinkle of strategy. The story is your classic space opera. An alien armada threatens humanity, and it's up to you and your fellow pilots to save the galaxy. You play as one of several unique characters, each with their own ship and special abilities, as you take on wave after wave of enemy fighters, capital ships, and massive bosses. It's not Shakespeare, but it's enough to justify all the laser-blasting action. Gameplay-wise, Blast Radius delivers fast-paced, arcade-style space combat with a touch of tactical depth. The levels are sprawling, packed with enemies, objectives, and hazards, giving you plenty of room to test your piloting skills. Your ship is armed to the teeth with lasers, missiles, and special weapons that pack a serious punch. Missions are varied, with objectives ranging from defending fleets to infiltrating enemy bases, keeping things fresh as you progress. And let's not forget the massive screen-filling explosions that make every dogfight feel like the finale of a space opera. It launched during a golden age of space shooters, but heavyweights like Colony Wars overshadowed it. Critics noted its solid gameplay, but pointed out its lack of polish and originality compared to its competition. Add in limited marketing, and it was easy for this one to slip past gamers' radars. Front Mission 3. First off, let's talk about the story. Front Mission 3 doesn't just hand you a single narrative and call it a day. Nope. Square Enix, then Squaresoft, decided to spoil us with two branching storylines. Depending on a choice early in the game, you're thrust into two completely different plot lines, each packed with enough political intrigue, betrayal, and mecha carnage to fill an entire Netflix series. You play as Kazuki Takamura, a hot-headed pilot who gets dragged into a global conspiracy involving nations, corporations, and, of course, giant walking death machines called Wanzers. The best part? You can play it twice and still feel like you're uncovering new layers of the story. Now, let's get to the gameplay, which is basically chess, but with missile launchers. Front Mission 3 is a turn-based strategy RPG, but instead of knights and rooks, you've got hulking mechs that can punch, shoot, or even flamethrower their enemies into submission. Customization is where this game truly shines. You can tinker with your Wanzers endlessly, swapping out arms, legs, and weapons to create the perfect metallic warrior. It's like building a Lego set, but with the added bonus of obliterating enemy robots after. And don't even get me started on the network feature. It's essentially a proto-internet inside the game, where you can hack into systems, read emails, and uncover hidden lore. Imagine finding out your enemy's top-secret plans because you spent half an hour scrolling through their fake corporate website. Who knew being a digital snoop could feel so satisfying? In short, Front Mission 3 is like that one friend who's insanely cool and talented, but somehow flies under everyone's radar. Marvelous verdict. In the vast and iconic library of PlayStation 1 games, these top 100 underrated PS1 games of all time stand as hidden treasures, often overlooked in favor of mainstream classics. Exploring these underrated gems not only deepens our appreciation for the PlayStation's legacy, but also highlights how diverse and ahead of its time the platform truly was. From overlooked RPGs and action-packed shooters to bizarrely imaginative puzzlers and experimental narratives, this list proves there was something special for everyone, if you were willing to dig a little deeper. So, if you're a retro enthusiast, a curious gamer, or someone revisiting the nostalgia of PS1 classics, these hidden gems deserve your attention. They're more than just relics of gaming history. Dust off that PS1 or boot up an emulator and prepare to discover or rediscover the games that quietly defined the golden age of PlayStation.